the hell is this fat ass guy?
It is now,
Sir
but he
Fat
said he
Ass.
started at 320.
Fattest of the fat. Has anyone ever heard of this guy?
Man, I'm over here
Hell
in
of a
Lake
guy.
Highlands.
He doesn't
like,
look fat.
You're on the other side
Uncle
of the world. I'm in
Fatty
Fort
is the
Worth, right?
skinniest fat man you've ever done seen.
actually in Michigan
He's
right
the
now.
fattest of the
You're
fat.
in Michigan.
Period. End of
Like
story.
right outside of,
Everything else is fake. I mean, like fake news. Am I right? Of course
He's in
I am.
Flint, Michigan, where
Everything
they
else
still
is
have
fake.
leaded gas.
But
No,
not
Because
fake.
they have
I'm like
extra lead.
Pinocchio. I'm a real
No,
boy.
I'm like-
And they
I'm
all
like,
tell me how handsome I
like
am.
50 miles,
I mean, like the most, the best, like the world has never seen before, like ever.
right now.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
like
Okay.
this guy over
You going
here,
trucking this
this
morning,
fatty dude. He's Sir Fatness of Fatsure.
I'm gonna
What
be,
the? Where the fuck is this so-called
Oh, okay.
Shire of
Yeah,
Fatness?
I'm just-
Do they have
I'm
their
just
own
trying to
steak
troll
sauce?
Stanley this morning.
Like the Shire
Oh, is that
of
what you're doing?
Worcester? Now
Oh, my
that
Lord.
is some sauce a guy can really get behind. Am
Oh,
I
man,
right?
what's the weather like this
Fatchester
week?
Shire sauce.
It's
Sounds
actually
great. So
pretty
like,
decent. It's like a cool 30, 38 degrees out here, man. It's
That's a
pretty
bunch of,
decent.
a bunch of crap.
Well, for Michigan at this time of the year, 38 is like summertime.
I used to live in Detroit. I know all about that. And I used to live in Midland too. I was a real small child. I lived in Midland. Dad worked for
where's-
Dow.
Where's Midland at? Midland, Michigan?
Midland, Michigan. Yeah. Didn't you live in Detroit?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Where's
So
Midland at?
Midland is kind of near Saginaw. It's
Oh,
kind,
okay. I got you.
but it's the Dow Chemical headquarters.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's 62 here in Dallas right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back. Jesus. I got some new attachments for my rifle. I'm trying to test them
I'm
out.
so glad you said rifle.
Yeah. There you go.
Some new attachments.
Yeah. That got a little spooky.
Really, man? I'm not gonna say nothing.
But yeah, Stanley, you should check out the new Kanye album, man. I think it might piss you off.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. Do I have to pay for it? Because if I do, I'll wait for the freeware.
Oh no. This album, I'm starting to kind of understand what Kanye's trying to do. He's basic. I think what he's trying to do is make himself so unmarketable that he is forced to kind of own everything on his own, because he's kind of like in a place where he doesn't trust anybody. He doesn't trust black people. Doesn't trust the Jews. He doesn't trust white people.
Well, you do know that's a sign of some sort of mental illness, right?
Oh, clearly. But,
Okay, well, why would the paranoia, that sort of stuff? Why would I worry?
No. It's more just kind of like what you said, like the tortured genius. Like
You know what? I guarantee you, 100 years from now, there will be tortured geniuses that are remembered, and he won't be one of them.
I don't know, man.
You give me double his problems and half his money, and I will live a happy life.
I think his music will probably live, it'd be probably as timeless as some of the music of your day,
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. He might be one of the select few.
Mhm.
I'm just not sure about the staying power of and that's probably any music genre. It'll be about maybe 1% of rap that will be timeless. Everything else, the 99%, I doubt it.
I think he'll be in that 99%, that 1%, honestly.
Well, you're an expert. I literally, other than what I've heard, you know, um, on like radio or music services, I don't seek his music out. There are probably songs I've heard that I thought were good and didn't know it was him.
Yeah, probably songs you heard from other people that he had some impact on. I give a man credit where it's due. He is pretty, he's pretty good at it. You know what I'm saying? That you gotta, give him in his flowers. He's earned it. He's damn good. He's damn good. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually pretty funny, Lawrence. Good one. You know what? I think that's a show title. Stanley asked me if I suffer from mental illness, and I said no. I rather enjoy it. That's actually funny. That's pretty funny. Thank you, Lawrence.
What do you rank Kanye versus Michael Jordan? Michael Jackson.
Who, me? Oh, you're talking to HB.
Both of you. Well, you don't know much about Kanye, but
not even close.
I know Michael Jackson, and only because of my sister was crazy about him back in 8th grade. I don't know enough to make a comparison, to be honest.
I think Kanye. Go ahead.
No one's ever called Kanye the king of pop.
Go ahead.
I think it is a really good comparison, just because Michael and Kanye, like the similarities are kind of like they kind of are like that tortured genius, and they're kind of like going against the system a lot. They're not like go along, get along type of guys. But I think Michael obviously is a lot more talented, but I think Kanye.
I don't know. Michael didn't write a lot of his songs.
Yeah, but he could dance. He was an amazing dancer and a much better vocalist.
You know what? If a songwriter writes his songs, and I know there's sampling and all that stuff, I'm much more willing to call somebody a genius if they write their own stuff.
Because John, I got a feeling if Michael had Twitter back then, he'd be going on these rants just like Kanye does.
Yeah, he was starting to crash out. Late in his career. I honestly, as I look at it right now, I think Kanye got him. I think he got him.
So it depends on what you're talking about. Michael Jackson destroys him in record sales. He also did write a lot of his own songs. Billie Jean, Beat It, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, The Way You Make Me Feel. He wrote a lot of his own songs. And
he wrote a lot for other people too.
Yeah. Plus, way better performer in terms of dancing, vocally, way better. I would also say that Michael made the jump to the white community. And dominated kind of on a word. No, not the way Michael has.
I would say Kanye probably has as many white listeners as black, passionate white listeners.
Yeah, that might be true. But
I know at least one racist. I read him online, and people call him a racist. He raves about Kanye. He's the greatest musician ever. The guy used to work for me.
He
was kind of an Antifa-like motherfucker. He loved Kanye, raved about it. Like I'd never seen anyone like the passion that he has among some of these white guys. They really recognize his talent.
I don't think that's untrue. I think that's very true. It's just that Michael Jackson became like such a household, unthreatening. Dayton Brooke Shields. Of course, Kanye was with Kim Kardashian,
but I think Kanye has jumped a lot of genres. It's gospel. He's done R&B. He's written a lot of songs. I would listen to a Janet Jackson song from Damita Joe. I was like, damn, I like this. I always liked this song. Damn, if it wasn't Kanye West who did the song.
Kanye never caught his head on fire.
Kanye did something that Mike never did. He was really successful with the apparel stuff. The majority of people I see wearing Yeezys are, soccer moms and stuff.
But Michael was much bigger in endorsements.
That's true.
Every product on the world wanted him advertising.
He was on fire.
He was totally on fire with that Diet Pepsi. And then DiCapriano says also Kanye sampled. Just
Yeah.
saying. People
Yeah.
sample Mike, you know.
Yeah, no,
It's a good question though. It's a good question. And also Kanye's not done. I don't think Michael's coming up with any new material soon. And so he's still got more legacy to generate.
yeah, I
you
think
know?
Kanye got him. I think the
But Thriller is still the #1 selling album of all time. And that's not even, I think there was like 7 top 10 hits on the album. And then that doesn't even consider Off the Wall. People completely forget how big of an album Off the Wall was for Michael Jackson. No, I don't know. It's a damn good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think it's a difference in time. You know what I mean? Where today you got a million different artists, some independent, some, and they can all, more or less get as much reach as anyone else. Back in Michael Jackson's time, Prince's time, much more, formatted. The record industries have a lot more control. So what Kanye is doing, outside of all of that, and still maintain a lot of popularity. A lot of other artists cannot do that. You see them trying to do it, and they can't do it. He's been able to do it. You got to tip your hat to that.
You ever seen that video of Kanye walking in the street, son?
Was he yelling at TMZ or something?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was yelling at the paparazzi. He was with Kim, and he walked. He just, yeah, it's terrible. I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
But he never held his baby over the edge of a balcony or any of that stuff either. So, and Michael was in at least one movie. He was in that Wizard of Oz thing that they did.
Oh yeah. Oz, or not Oz, the Wiz.
The Wiz. But I did a show last night. I did a show. I wonder what John, you and HB think about this, or you probably knew about it. John might because he lives in the D.C. area. President Woodrow Wilson, his wife pretty much ran the government for, a year and a half. She was pretty much the president for a year and a half. He had a stroke, and she decided who could talk to him, when they could talk to him, what documents he saw. She interpreted for him, all that kind of stuff. It was a known thing. Yeah, you couldn't even see the president. You'd have to just talk to her, and she said, "Well, I'll go tell him, and then I'll tell you what he said."
What the hell?
Yeah,
we have had a female president. What
he
the
was
hell?
totally paralyzed on one side of his body, and one of his eyes didn't work, and he was in bed, and he got really sort of crazy. He'd start crying out of nowhere and yelling at people and things like that. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, did she do a good job? I never knew that.
It was right after the World War I had ended, I guess. I don't know. We didn't get back in any other wars.
Well, didn't the Great Depression happen right after that?
Well, 10 years or so after that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. That is pretty interesting though. What the hell? So what was the vice president doing at that time?
He was scared of her. Everybody was. The Secretary of State called some cabinet meetings without her or the president, and she had him kicked out.
Jesus.
She was really stubborn and domineering and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man. Stanley, what do you think? Stanley's making some avocado.
Oh no, I think that I think she did a fine.
Wow.
Too bad she wasn't alive to have his name erased from Princeton history.
Well, she lived until 1961.
Well, yeah, the Woodrow Wilson School of International Policy or whatever it was, their foreign policy outfit had his name on a building. You didn't see that? Well, I know Tom did.
Yeah.
Basically, they have tried to distance themselves from. He was a virulent racist.
Oh yes, and she had been brought up in the lost cause theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, Woodrow Wilson had an integral part in that. He was a history professor.
Yeah.
He was knee deep in that Dunning School stuff.
Yeah, the lost cause theory. You guys know what that was, right? The South was heroic, and it wasn't all about slavery. It was all that nonsense.
Excuse me, states' rights.
Yeah, it's just about states' rights, is all. Do you think
Heritage.
The
Do you
War of Northern.
yeah, the War of Northern Aggression? Stanley, do you think Michael Jackson or Kanye has got the biggest impact?
I would say right now, Michael Jackson, but I can't say that John is wrong. I just don't know the music well enough.
Plus Kim Kardashian. I got to give Kanye a lot of points for that.
You think so?
Oh man, you realize what a she would be the all-time goat on Pop the Balloon.
Yeah.
She unpopped balloons for the whole. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
she and her sisters could be a whole lineup.
Then they could have NBA players be the contestants.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know
the
about
ones that aren't in the hospital. Poor Lamar
You know
Odom.
what? I actually think Solid Snake has the best take.
Wait, can you
What's
read
up,
it for me,
Uncle
Stanley?
Fatty?
How you doing, guys?
Solid said he's killing me with this mastermind one day, victimhood mentality the next.
No, Solid Snake. I actually listened to his album. I get what he's trying to do. Like he's not. He's like. It's not that he's pretending to be a victim. He's making himself so untouchable, as in like nobody can work with him. That
Toxic.
he's basically like just being as like racist, and he's making it so no company can work with him. So he can completely own everything. It's like a power play, you know.
But he could do that without alienating everybody. I mean, Taylor Swift owns all her stuff.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
thinks
yeah,
she's-
yeah. And I think that's where his insanity kind of creeps
You know,
in.
you know what I really think, honestly, is I was listening to him when he talked about Jared Kushner having part of his the Spanx. I think it was Spanx. Somehow they were apparently friends, and Jared Kushner weaseled his way. I didn't mean to use that word, but it figured out a way to get a part of what Kanye felt was his ownership. Be like, what the fuck did he do to maintain ownership? And maybe it probably was a financial position where Jared Kushner helped, liquidate the company so they can go to the next level. And those things are necessary if you want to go from millions to billions. Scale up your product. You gotta have to go to somebody with deep pockets. And I don't think Kanye understands that. Understood that. Maybe he does, and he realizes that all those brothers around him, they ain't do that shit. Like, they didn't help him finance Spank or any of that other shit.
Yeah.
And just so happened, Jared Kushner is Jewish, and he's the one that got his hands into it. And that has seemed to be the case from Kanye's standpoint in every aspect of his life. When he wants to take it to the next level, he has to deal with people who have their own best interests at heart as well. And it's a different world. You have to be able to deal with that.
Lawrence, I have lived in an igloo. In the Arctic Circle.
The same people that made him rich, he's mad at.
Well, no. I don't think he's mad at him though, John. I think what he's doing is trying to make it so they can't work with him anymore. I don't
But
think he's really mad at him.
But it's one of those things where like Tom was saying that he could have easily just stopped working with them, and then without burning
Yeah.
all the bridges.
Yeah, yeah. What it kind of reminds me of is that that tenant that called the other day that said, I don't want to live in a room with any women in the house.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like that mentality where he knows he can't really help himself. So he's just kind of blowing it all up so they won't work with him. Like I'm not
DiCapriano and Jonathan Earl are dead on. Michael Jackson, he's talking to Paul McCartney, and he asked him, what should I do with my money? How can I get bigger? Well, I'll tell you, it's a very good idea to invest in music. And then he goes and buys all the Beatles' entire catalog out from under him.
Yeah, I remember.
Good advice.
Yeah, John, I really do think this is like a psychotic, like he's kind of like he looks at himself as like
A god.
like yeah, I wouldn't say that, but more
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
world,
He's said it
world
quite a few
leader.
times, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
he does.
if you take aside all of that, you look at some of the things he said about people close to him. Some of the stuff you got to just filter out. But you look at some of the things he said about Jay-Z, and I think there's a lot of hurt there. He felt like he contributed a lot, and he's not saying much different than what Dame Dash is saying. And I think, in business and, typically when you're dealing with, I think honestly, he feels like, Jay-Z took advantage of him and he didn't treat him like a friend. And
But kind of what you're going
I don't know.
doing there earlier, John, was those guys are watching out for their investment too. If I'm invested in my friend and he's running around, doing the things that Kanye's doing, saying the thing that Kanye's are saying, I'm probably going to pull my investment, no matter how good of a friend they are.
I didn't hear. I can hear everything you said.
Pulling the investment out from underneath him is really their responsibility as investors, right? To watch out for their investment. That they wouldn't have a guy like him running around saying the things he's saying and acting the way he is. I think it's mental illness, and he's not making his meds. But
I don't think it's medication.
Yeah, I think
for
there
sure.
there I think there's definitely some drugs involved in there, but I think from his perspective, there's like a moral high ground that he feels like he's on, where he feels like everybody has taken from him in some way, even though he's filthy fucking rich. He feels like everybody, even like Kim Kardashian, like pretty much everybody that he's put trust in has kind of taken from him and used them.
Yeah.
He reminds me kind of like OJ. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
like OJ in a way. OJ kind of, left the community that, built him up, and he got rich, you know what I'm saying? And then some shit happened with a woman, whatever. And, Kanye had this woman, very similar situation. And then, she didn't work out. Now he's kind of like, if he didn't want to be all richy rich and, try to pierce through this, corporate veil that has him beaten down, he probably could live very happily just doing, catering to his base. But I think, he wants to, prove something to the people that are holding him down. And that drives him more than, just his internal drive. That's my thought.
I can see that.
Because he keeps talking about other people and, and how other people are holding him down. But his base, he's running his base away at the same time. They thinking he's crazy and shit like that. I don't know. It's
It doesn't work though.
I don't think he's running his base away. I think he's kind of making his base like see his perspective a little bit more. I I think you know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's.
The new album sucks, dude. That's all I'm gonna say. The new album sucks.
I mean,
Nah.
Bad. It's bad.
I mean, once people start thinking you're crazy, it's kind of hard for them to take you seriously.
Sure.
You
But the
know,
victim complex is bad. The victim thing just doesn't play off very well with him. You know.
I don't know. I thought this was probably his best album since like Donda. Honestly,
Mm.
and I don't really see the victim thing, man. I kind of
Oh
I
man.
kind of I kind of think it's more of like a power play, you know? Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's power play.
yeah, I think he's playing chess. You know, he's making himself look like a victim in a way by
You know the
complaining
one.
about all these groups and people.
Did you
know.
see this tweet about Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. He called him a puppet.
And but again, like it's like there's the industry can make puppets out of people.
Yeah.
Kanye West is rich, and like no one's going. There's so many poor young black men want to be rappers that they're not going to align with Kanye's cause. They've seen Jay-Z rip him off when he said that he was going to do something for the artist with title. He ended up ripping him off. It's just a dog-eat-dog world out there, and he can't get enough people to align with him to take on this big corporation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where like the psychosis comes from because
Yeah.
he really is alone on this, and um, even like his beef with Playboy Cardi, like Playboy Cardi basically said he couldn't put his verse on Kanye's album because he was talking about the Jews and stuff.
Right.
So it's like I can't align myself with that.
Playboy Cardi ain't rich enough
Playing
yet.
the Buster's not a very good idea usually.
But he's not rich enough yet, right? Playboy Cardi may feel just the same way as Kanye, or may not care or even think much about it.
Do you think he had a little bit of a complex with the girls having more money than he did?
I don't know, maybe. But I mean, he was doing this before he was married, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. But I mean, they got him, probably who knows, 5 or 10 times the amount of money than he does personally. And
Well, if you want to go there, then I think that they're Armenian, right?
yeah,
I think so, yeah.
We've had Nas 415 in the chat, right? I remember early on in the stream, Nas came on and he was like, yo, he's talking about his father. And he said, father wasn't shit, but he was a boss. And he was like, as bad as he wanted to talk about it, man was a boss. And you're like, shit, I got some respect for him. Kanye there, if you listen to him, was driven out of the family by his mother. He blames it on liberalism in Chicago and public education and all that kind of shit. This is what he says. So that, that bond with his father, when he looking at this family over here, strong family, Armenian motherfuckers that went through genocide, like they close. You can't break them apart. His shit been broken. His father and mother were broken apart. Let him tell it. By liberalism. That's what he says. His family been broken apart, and he blames it on all these other things. I don't know what the ins and outs of it are. But he don't have what those Kardashians had. The strong family. You know what I'm saying? It go back, built on fire, built by fire. He ain't got it. And that will drive a motherfucker crazy.
Yeah, well.
You look at young Jesus. Look at Jesus, same shit. Right?
Yeah.
Married into a family with strong bonds.
I think
But he was very weak.
I think what made him go crazy with Kim was that, she was basically trying to bring him over to the Democratic Party. And then he found out that she was like basically getting like directly spoken to by Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no idea she was even connected to the Clintons at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of fucked him up.
All I know is I'm eating a burger cooked on a George Foreman grill today out of respect.
Ah, yeah.
oh yeah.
All
Shout out to the champ.
And man, what does that Pete Davidson have working? Man, he's been with heavy because come on,
Confidence, bro.
look
It's all
at
about
his
confidence.
really.
Confidence,
I'll
bro.
take you a
That's all it
long
is.
way, but he's still Pete Davidson. I mean,
Well, he's got a portfolio.
Yeah.
of what?
Women.
Women.
He's got a chick folio is what he's got. But man, oh man, it's almost like he just looks away. I'm gonna just knock that one off, that one off, that one off.
Yeah, I think he's fucking evil, man. Pete Davidson.
It's that Staten Island swag.
He has a history of like kind of taunting guys after they break up with their girlfriend when he gets with them.
Yeah.
He did it with oh man, I can't remember that guy. This is white boy rapper who killed him. Well, OD'd, but he was with damn, I can't think of his name. Somebody in the chat might know. But the guy OD'd because he was with his girlfriend sending like pictures of them together afterwards, and he did the same thing to Kanye. He tried to make him kill himself. It was that guy is fucking sick, man.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah. Ariana Grande and Mac Miller. Yeah, thank you,
Mac.
Mando.
That's the one. Yeah.
Kate
Yeah, Mac Miller.
Beckinsale. Margaret Qualley, that chick from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Kim Kardashian. Come on, man.
Telling you, if you want to get a chick, just wear a ring.
I think he was married to Kim. It just didn't really work out.
And he taunted Kanye like crazy.
Yeah, he did, man. Got his kids tatted on him. That's brutal, man.
That's fucking crazy, motherfucker. Like, what would you do with some shit like that, HB?
Man, my first thought would probably be to crash out. I would have to just, probably start going to church more or something, man. I don't know what I would do in that situation. It's like a whole nother level of disrespect. I've never seen anything like that before.
Really, I mean, I don't know. Weren't they posting pictures of her laid up in bed with those guys?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I got a question for all you guys. What is it with famous people that think they have to date another famous person?
I think it's kind of like a hierarchy thing. Like it's just hard for somebody that's super famous to date somebody that's not.
That might
I think
be
there's a familiarity there of lifestyle, and it's real hard for them to even be in public, let alone to meet somebody in public. And when you're in the lifestyle, you're kind of in that paparazzi phase. You're not really in general society, so there's that disconnect that is a common bond.
plus, like you say, maybe that's all you're exposed to.
Yeah.
Man's only as faithful of his choices.
You're not hanging out with a bunch of normies, right? You're going to shows and you're bouncing around in your private jets, and
Yeah. Because you got a lot of them that do date, but it's always kind of like, well, she was the makeup artist on my movie or whatever, so it's still access, I suppose.
love hides in familiar faces.
Like work.
Yeah.
Hell, my daughters are still on first name phone call basis with Kim and Chloe. Actually, really cool people for the most part. I haven't really had any problems with any of the upper 1% that I build houses for up here. And Kardashians are actually pretty based people when they're not like on TV and shit. Kanye is a different story, man. He was a fucking freak. Completely like standoffish and hierarchical. Guy went down into town when they were in town here and spent $1,000 at the local Goodwill thrift shopping, right? With his earphones on, ignoring everybody.
Yeah, that sounds pretty Kanye right there.
You know, which is, I can understand that, but at least like sign an autograph for a kid, maybe say hi, you know. I don't know. It's just kind of a douche.
Autograph some thrift store items and make the price
Yeah.
go up.
Something like, you know, you basically spend a day, the whole day running around town and just making a scene, you know. I do think he's got a big victim complex and is definitely off his rocker when he's not taking his meds. Whatever they might be, but
You know, the other thing about Michael Jackson is he was in the spotlight from when, how old was he when he first started? I mean, he was like, what, 7 or 9 or something like that?
Yeah, he was
So
a
what,
kid,
yeah.
man. He was a baby out there.
Kanye
dancing.
wouldn't necessarily be around if it wasn't for MJ. I mean, he changed the whole spectrum, you know.
Had a hit with a song about a rat. Love song. Slow dance.
Yeah, I don't know. I do kind of think Michael has the more timeless music, but Kanye maybe the the, the impact on like society is a little bit bigger.
Michael reminds me a little bit of Elvis, just in terms of the fact that at a certain point in his career, he just had handlers, you know, and the drug addiction, you know, and sort of build his own Xanadu, and fell prey to that, you know.
You know, I was watching a documentary about Michael Jackson, and I ain't gonna say it changed my opinion about him, but he didn't create the moonwalk. It blew my mind. Like one of his choreographers was up on stage and they did the moon. Now Michael did it, executed it, you know, probably better than anyone else could have done it. But you know, again, like you know, Stanley saying the writing with the dancing, a lot of that choreography, which is kind of written in a way, you know, the dancers, the person dancing, oftentimes doesn't think it up. Like Beyonce probably doesn't think of her choreography routine. She has a choreographer, you know, that helps her do that. She pulls it off. That's her talent. But yeah, I never knew that, you know, that there were choreography people behind the scenes creating all these dances.
I don't know that he invented the robot, but he's the one that like popularized it.
That all came out of the breakdancing movement, you know.
Talking about the moonwalk. The moonwalk.
Well, no, I know the moonwalk's one thing. The robot is another one.
Oh, I don't remember that.
The moonwalk came from the robot stuff and the smooth robot, you know, and the sideways robot and all that.
The robot was out way before the moonwalk.
Yeah. He did the robot back in the 70s.
Yeah.
The moonwalk didn't come until the 80s.
It kind of spawned from that, those foot movements of the robot.
He did the robot on some big special or something. People lost their minds. It was, but again, we don't know that he's the first one to do it.
I remember seeing a video where he did like the robot with Cher. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day where he did ABC with Carol Burnett. It was sad. Carol Burnett was like played this really uptight secretary or teacher or something, and she tried to get hip when they were teaching her ABC, and it just never happened. She had absolutely no moves, and I felt shame for her. But
yeah, white people don't have much rhythm, do they?
some do, but Carol
Not
Burnett
me.
didn't. Carol Burnett did not.
Vanilla Ice could dance at least.
Yeah. In my experience, white women don't really have that much rhythm, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Clapping
Stanley,
on
you
the
still-
three. Clapping on the three.
Stanley, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ever do the robot, Stanley?
I'm sure I did in 8th grade or something like that, or at least attempted it.
The robot was very, very well accepted in the white community because it was something we could actually do. We were usually pretty robotic most of the time, so it wasn't that far of a stretch.
You don't even have to follow the beat.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Stanley dancing. That's hilarious.
Why not?
Yeah, well, I was,
I had a couple of parachute pants and a couple of a couple
no,
of them windbreakers,
I never went that far.
Oh yeah.
You know, I never crossed the threshold of Chess King.
What about merry-go-round?
No.
I
There was one in the mall.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't my aesthetic.
Those clothes would last 2 washings, but they were extremely stylish. I had a pin through my cheek, and like
Oh my lord!
I would dye my hair orange and black and polka dotted, and
Yeah.
I shaved lightning bolts in the side of my,
Well, that was a soccer thing, though, right?
Right there with you.
It was a punk rock thing.
Oh,
But
I see.
for me, it was both. But yeah, I had to
Did you use
take
Jello for your mohawks or
No,
mousse?
I used what was it called? Glue stick. It was it was that hair glue.
Oh
is
my
what they
lord,
call
the
it.
one they used in first grade?
No.
No, it's this hair glue.
It was a product called hair glue. Yeah. But I had to take the pin out for they wouldn't let me keep the pin in for the game.
Right.
Jesus. Tom, you had an emo phase?
No, it was hardcore punk rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That whole preppy thing, God. Oh, you guys, that was
No.
I couldn't stand that preppy movement.
Well, you'll love me. I still to this day buy topsiders.
Topsiders are okay. I just didn't like the duck shoes.
Yeah.
And
members only vest.
Yeah.
I still to this day have a pair of those too.
Oh.
What
As a matter
the LL
of fact, I used to use them in the garden.
LL Bean, yeah, but these were worn for style and fashions, and then the ultra expensive sweaters that just look like they were Cosby sweaters, basically. It just were like no pattern, just the whole preppy thing was. I was not into that.
Kind of pre-Metro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was very pre-Metro.
Hey, yeah, Nando, I don't have a problem with LL Beans, man. I like those shoes, man.
What do you wear when you're trucking? Do you wear like a work boot? Like
Oh yeah, yeah, I have like some
Timberland, some Timberland.
No. I have like some cowboy work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they actually got they're like the Wolverine, work boots, but they're like cowboy boots, so they come all the way up. They actually got like a American flag on the side.
Of course, I would expect nothing less.
I like
that speaks for itself.
I like
Made in
Wolverine.
Taiwan.
Jonathan, Sex Pistols are probably my favorite, but everybody knows them, so I'll just say Sham 69. Big Sham 69.
Operation Ivy.
Yeah, no, Tom, I learned real early that, out on the road, you need a good pair of work boots. When I first got out here, I was wearing some like Air Force Ones. I killed them. Like in the first 3 weeks, they were done. It's like, I need to get some work boots like those.
Why is that though, HB? Why did the shoes go out like that?
Man, because sometimes I might pull up. It's it might the whole parking lot might be frozen over, or I'm like driving on a gravel road to some farm or something, or it's a straight dirt road, that I'm dropping a trailer at. Like I mean I've or even too like I've dropped I picked up and dropped trailers. The whole place is flooded, you know. So it's like you need something that can withstand like all terrains.
Yeah.
Man, I got a pair of Timberland Pro Series work boots. They're indestructible.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah.
It's I don't care what you're doing, ripping out carpet, whatever. They last forever.
Yeah, yeah. And plus, I would always see like the old truckers, like the old timers. They all had on these, you know, like cowboy work boots. So I was like, man, if it works for them, I probably should invest in a pair too.
Do you drive with those on a long trip, or do you put something more comfortable on them?
No. I put some like some like slides on while I'm driving, but I never like they literally don't leave the truck at all. I don't like I kind of hate truckers that like walk around with their slides on. You see like a lot of migrants that kind of do that type of stuff.
Do you have a big giant like room behind your
Yeah, yeah,
two
yeah,
front
yeah,
seats?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I actually have like a I have bunk beds actually.
Man,
Nice.
And
man, John's not renting those out.
I told John he's gotta have like a bunk bed set up for one of these places, man. Yeah.
2 for 1 in the sleeper cab.
Yeah.
HB, man, you missed yesterday. Oh man, you missed it. Oh, we had a day yesterday, HB. Stanley, I don't know if you were in the audience. Oh, well, you saw my roofer came by here. You were here for that, HB.
Yeah.
And then we had to call a couple of tenants, HB, and man, it was amazing. So we been like, look, we did a Price is Right yesterday, HB.
Did that one guy who said he didn't want to live with any girls? Did he get a room?
I gotta tell you about that. We're gonna call him this morning. He said, "Man, can we just rent all the rooms in the house?" That's what he said. He said, "I got a team. Got a team of Africans with me." Hey, this sound like Chance the Rapper. He said, "I got a what remember that guy? You don't want no problem with me." I got a red head nigga. He got a bunch of African niggas. He said, "You want to rent the whole house, all the rooms."
Oh man, John, they might not move out if you give them the right price. They might be here for years.
And so then we called the black guy, the lawyer, and so we did Prices Right. We said, everybody put in how much money, like what the price of the item, how much money do you think he got in his pocket, right?
Oh man.
And it really was telling because people were like, it was so telling HB because people were like $50, $20, like it's a man. And you're like, they don't think he had much money. And then we called the woman who also owes some money, and the bets that she would have, how much money she would have, was more than the man. Isn't that amazing? It's like two people in the audience saying, between HB and Portia, who y'all think gonna have more money? Everybody said Portia.
Oh yeah.
Hey. Well, yeah, that's no secret. That's no secret right
But
there.
that would be, what I'm saying, but that would be kind of embarrassing to a man just in general. That everybody's saying, I think that woman will have more money than the man, right?
Yeah.
Portia's an extreme example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. She's not the average woman
Right.
by any means.
But two people living in a room, a man and a woman, you probably say the man probably
yeah,
have
but
more
like
money.
on that level though.
Right,
yeah,
on that level,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Any gal named Portia is gonna have some money.
She better. Her name is Portia.
Give me a break.
Yeah,
You go, Bill, you go.
This is really embarrassing, but I don't even, and I shouldn't do this. This is really bad, but I don't carry cash on me anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we just asking for money in general. How much money do you have, right? Like in your bank account. Like,
Oh, well, that's a whole different
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, how much money can you give John Galt before he
Yeah,
kicks you out?
Yeah, I
Right.
might have a few dollars in the bank, but I don't physically carry cash
if your
anymore.
landlord, you know what I mean, Tom. If your landlord calls you, say, hey, how much money you got for you? You know,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
talking about
I thought you were talking about Price is Right stuff, where because that's a Price is Right game. They would.
price is right. The price is right is how much don't go over. How much
I
money?
got you.
If you
I
got
got you.
$1 and you bid 250, you win.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Well, my old man gets mad at me. He's like, "You got to have some walking around money. You got to have some walk around money." I'm like, "Well, everything's on a card, and I just forget. I don't because nobody ever. People look at you funny if you try to pay something with cash nowadays."
Yeah.
Walk around money literal when you don't have a car. You driving around.
Hey, John, what do you think about DiCapriano's comment?
I mean, I don't get off on it. I mean, I think it highlights something. You know what I'm saying? You know, shit, they should be embarrassed. You know what I mean? That's what wrestler was up here saying, man. I'd be embarrassed to say I only had $50. You know,
Yeah.
they not embarrassed.
I think too, like if you're paying attention to social media at all, man, it's a much bigger issue than John's world. Like I see so many people like living in their cars, living in shelters, you know. And I mean, these aren't like homeless looking people either. We just saw that story of that singer from In Vogue is living it. She's been
Yeah.
living in her car.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's something a lot bigger going on than
Oh, yeah.
like
No.
it's kind of brutal out here.
Well, you know, she was unwilling to work unless she could be an actress.
Yeah.
If plenty things that someone would have hired her to do, she wouldn't do it. This guy, you know, he's pursuing working at a law firm. Shit, that damn black woman talking about selling pussy. He could take her job, hauling packages. They probably looking for a guy like him, but they can't. These companies can't find people like him because he thinks he's good enough to be a lawyer, but clearly he's not. Right? Why don't you go do something where you have some stable, steady income? The law degree precludes him from doing that, and so he has to end up begging me for a place to live. Right? He
Man.
depends on my benevolence.
AI is coming for all of our jobs.
Bro, speaking of AI and robots, bro, I saw an AI robot doing drywall. Motherfucker did a whole room. You know what I mean? Skimming that motherfucker every day. I said, oh my God.
Well, but see, that's a tough one because the instructions on that robot are in Mexican.
Straight up.
That motherfucker straight did.
You know this, man.
I said, damn, like people thought that the trades weren't going to be affected. Yeah, you know.
It's like you're talking with your roofer though yesterday, John. I mean, I've traveled around chasing hailstorms and tornadoes, and
I saw you coming, yeah.
I can't, for the life of me, tell you that I've ever really ran across a good crew of white boys that show up on time, that aren't drunk, that bring a lunch, that bring their gloves, that wear their high vis, that don't cat call at the neighbor ladies' little daughters, you know, and like, I mean,
and that's why I wanted to show him
Well,
because again, he's not very political. You see, he just voted for the first time.
Yeah.
And he's 64 years old. You know, I've gotten along with him very well for a very long time. And my mother,
yeah, good dude.
you know what I mean? He's just a regular old white guy. Damn broke to think about racism. You know what I mean?
Right.
He just trying to keep his head above water, not push anybody else's head up below water, you know. But he's been affected by immigration just the same as so many other people have.
Yeah.
Man, you heard his story, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Idaho is straight up dependent on migrant workers. All of our farming in the south and even up north, we've got the big hop fields for Anheuser-Busch has got their hop fields up there by the Canadian border. I mean, there's 200, 250 full-time seasonal workers. You know, they're not here in the wintertime, but they're here 9 months out of the year and they're working their asses off. And, you know,
I mean, he even
people,
tipped his hat. He even tipped his hat to the migrants. He said, "Man, you know, the Mexicans." He said, "Man, they're hard workers." He said, "They're good
Straight up.
work." He had to say that.
I mean, when it comes to roofing, those guys will have a big house done. You know,
Yeah.
about 4, 5, 8, whatever it takes, however many guys it takes to get it done in one day.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do
Yeah.
it that way. I got white boy crews putting sprinklers up on the top of the roof, right, with bare tar paper, so that they can cool the asphalt shingles down, so they can walk on them and not leave footprints on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I like some of that here as well. Yeah, that's they definitely come in and really dominate that field.
yeah,
Seeing them put a roof on is like something amazing, bro. The motherfucker gonna go through a roof, take that shit off, and put it back on. That shit is amazing.
yeah, straight up. And you got to do it that way, insurance wise too. You get a storm overnight or something
Oh,
stupid
yeah,
happens,
yeah.
and now you're paying for drywall and everything else, and blowing insulation in the attics, and mold issues. Yeah, I've been there.
When's John Galt show going full AI? 24/7.
Like need me a robot dog.
We got enough to probably, put it into some algorithm, some AI algorithm, and create a AI John Galt at this point.
Have you guys seen those?
Oh, yeah.
It's Patrick Melton's got this technology where you do super chats, but you do them in the voice of somebody. You can pick from all these people, and it reads your super chat aloud in someone else's voice.
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
You get to pick the voice.
yeah. That's I
I
think it's
vote Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, there's Discord bots that'll do it. There's different apps that'll do it.
Yeah, some of these AIs are they're really insane. I saw,
Yeah.
I don't know why IG was suggesting it to me, but there was like a AI therapist. So I was like, what's going on? So you can get therapy from AI now. You can go talk to an AI.
Well, since we fired all the guys at the VA suicide hotline, we can just implement some AI then, I guess.
That actually does make sense.
Waste,
I
fraud, and
can see
abuse,
that.
you know.
Yeah.
Waste, fraud, and abuse, you know. Yep. I've been trying to figure it out though. Where I made that quote a couple nights ago for Stan, that democracy dies with applause. Is that Braveheart or is it a Star Wars? Or what? Might not have been even Braveheart. It might have been like,
You said democracy.
oh,
dies
the
with-
Gladiator, right? Was it Gladiator?
Wait, would you say democracy dies with what?
Yeah, democracy dies with thunderous applause. Is
That's
the
Star
quote, right?
Wars.
Oh yeah, I think that's Gladiator. I'm pretty sure that's Gladiator.
It's Star Wars.
It's got to be. Now that I think about it, it is Star Wars when
But-
Palpatine's taking over.
Yeah, but it's liberty. She says liberty,
Sure, right?
but
Okay.
and I had to look that up because I don't watch Star Wars.
Nice. Sounds right.
I think some people are both, but I think most people are either Star Wars or Star Trek. One of the two.
Yeah, I'm more of a Doctor Who guy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yeah, same here. I don't need the fairy princesses and all that.
Give me some Doctor Who and some MacGyver, and I'll be just fine.
Yeah, especially when you can travel through space. Who needs a princess at that point? It's kind of retarded.
Do you know how many inventions? I did a whole show on it. The things from Star Trek that like shaped or inspired inventions that currently exist. I mean, you look at the old flip phones.
Yeah.
They were directly from Star Trek.
Yeah,
And all the handheld stuff and the tricorders, they're using that now.
the
You just-
iPads.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Pocket
It's-
doors.
Yeah, I made a point that something like Google Lens is just like a tricorder.
yeah.
You know, you just kind of scan it and it identifies what it is. I've done that with spiders. I've done it with plants.
Oh yeah.
Done it with any Venus flytraps?
You know what? Tom got me interested in them again. I'll probably get one or
Oh
two.
man, Stanley, when you were talking about that, man, I've owned like 3 Venus flytraps, and they never last more than like a couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah,
I think
I
I like
couldn't get-
overfeed them or something. I would like
Well,
give
as an
that thing a
adult,
fly every day.
They're like
you know,
super,
as an
super acidic.
adult, I'll try and do better. But I really do want that's man size, like you threaten people with it.
You know, Lieutenant Uhura was the first chick to be toothing. She had that thing in her ear.
Yeah.
The fly traps and all those, they're really interesting because all of those carnivorous plants evolved independent of each other. There wasn't like one and then they branched out into variations. They all grow in soil that is like nutrient poor. It's not, maybe that's the reason they die or something, but when people try to raise them, but there's no nutrients in the soil, so that's why they evolved to get all their nutrients from bugs.
What's that word called again, Tom?
It's called Stanley was talking about the other day. It's I don't know, God, I can't think of the phrase now. But it's independent evolution. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's polygenesis.
yeah,
Polygenesis. Yeah. When you said that, I started looking up other things that were polygenesis. Like those African crickets that turn into lotus. Those are polygenesis too.
Yeah, most of the vast majority of creatures on the earth and plants have sprung from one main source and then just made a variant. But
You see, there was a chunk of iceberg that just broke off up off of Greenland somewhere that was the size of Chicago, and it's floated out of the way. And now they've taken ships in and gone underneath where that thing used to be, and found all kinds of new species of fish and jellies, corals and worms and all kinds of shit that was underneath that thing.
and Trump's buying the iceberg.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I would imagine. Got to have some way to keep that Trump wine nice and cold.
Buy that iceberg. It's going to be the 51st state.
Wow.
I thought Puerto Rico is going to be 51st. Haven't they been waiting in line for a little while?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a huge revolution down there during the Truman administration, and that sort of resulted in the assassination attempt on Harry Truman.
Yeah.
A couple dudes because we went there and we, you know, even though they have their own government stuff, we bombed the living bejesus out of a bunch of their cities and stuff where these overthrows were going on, and they got upset about that. I think 50, it's weird. 50 is just a nice round number for the number of states, you know? It's like, well, I don't mess with that.
Sure. No, Guam and Samoa have kind of been waiting too, though, huh?
Yeah. Indiana, I think they want to become part of the rest of civilization someday too.
Are they ready?
I don't think so.
Can they handle it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready yet.
I don't think so. Well, you got to put all the flyers about it in an outhouse so people will see it.
Yeah. It's the reason they call them the flyover states.
Yeah. John, do you get more people wanting rooms in the cold weather than in the warm weather?
I think warm is probably, high tourism season, so people probably more demand in the summer there.
I guess
Probably more desperate in the winter though.
I did watch that podcast you sent me too. The Joe Rogan with that
Yeah.
man, that was a great. I watched it all the way through, man. That was
Well, I've subscribed to that guy's podcast for a couple of years now.
yeah.
Which one is that?
He, um, there's a podcast called Martyr Made, and I've never been able to make sense of the name. Maybe I didn't watch the whole Joe Rogan thing, but this guy just really deep dives into his historical events, and he did a very like a 20 episode deep dive into slavery. I mean, he covered it from he covered it basically from soup to nuts, like from Roman times all the way up to U.S. And I haven't finished it yet, but he does some deep dives. I think his take, on history gets needs getting used to, because he tends to find, well, his thing is, he human suffering, it doesn't matter whether, doesn't really matter which side you're on. He kind of has sympathy or empathy for human suffering of any type. And he pissed some people off when he basically treated Germany in Nazism. But there were, I mean, who can deny that there were some innocent victims of Nazism? You take some 18-year-old and put him in a uniform and ask him to fight a war. It's hard not to be sympathetic. So he caused a kerfuffle with his take on that. And to be honest, it doesn't surprise me that, Americans aren't taught history or even how to take history and be objective about it. This patriotic thing we want to do, patriotic education, where you treat history, the history of the good guys, and you don't even do that history right. You glorify it, you gloss over it. So anytime someone comes with a different perspective, they want to call it revisionism and just kind of demonize it.
At the end,
bro.
He's a former SEAL too, if I recall. So,
at the end, they were way younger than 18.
right.
I mean, they were putting 14-year-olds in
Yep.
in outfits and saying, "Here, go defend Berlin from the Russians." It didn't work out too well.
Yeah, he really tries to humanize everybody involved, and I think when you're just reading history, especially from the American perspective,
Yeah. They
it is
glorify.
really skewed, man. Yeah, and it's these were real people, like it is interesting, but yeah, it was. Yeah, you were spot on, Stanley. I watched the whole thing. It was riveting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he does a good job. You should. I'm into podcasts, so he's got a lot of stuff. If you subscribe to his podcast, it's called Martyr Made.
Yeah, I just dropped a link in the back there for his channel. I've seen a couple of his breakdowns.
Well, I actually subscribe to his Substack, so I get all that stuff. He does a good job.
I'll see you guys later. I got to go to the grocery store.
Okay.
Before anybody gets there.
12th Man recommends Wagyu beef.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, see, it's my alarm telling me I got to go to. I don't like. I don't like the public at all.
Where you going to Walmart?
I'm gonna hit the Tom Thumb real fast, and then I'm gonna go to Walmart. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Get there as soon as it opens, man.
Yeah.
That's them corporations, baby.
Yeah, I got it. So I can indulge in my weekly volunteer service for a major corporation and bag my own groceries.
Nice.
I'm never going to
Yeah.
get over it.
Zhang, I don't remember commenting at all about your take on the multi-ethnic component of the Wehrmacht. Bottom line is what conquering army hasn't been multiracial?
Well, there was a big German one and a big Russian one.
Yeah, well, I mean, the British, Indians, Gurkhas, is that what they were? So,
Huh?
having a multiracial, the only person who doesn't realize, how multiracial some of these big conquering armies were is Donald Trump.
Ah, come on.
Uncle Fatty knows where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah. I mean, why not just erase people from history, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Oh, speaking of which, was it you actually? Your point about I don't think it depends on how you look at racism. Donald Trump, and I'm actually thinking more of John Roberts here. John Roberts, way back when he was in the Reagan administration, had a problem with the Voting Rights Act. He literally thinks that we're post-racial. He thinks that, hey, we don't need a Voting Rights Act. We don't need civil rights divisions. America has come to a point to where pretty much everybody gets that discrimination is bad. So we're wasting money with civil rights divisions in the various agencies.
it's the reverse
And,
racism theory.
Yeah, and I think he's wrong, but
I'm not so sure about it.
we will see.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a black person, yeah, I'm a little skeptical about that.
yeah. I mean,
I
just
don't think John
because people
Roberts
are fighting
gets
for
out on
equal
fourth
rights.
man much.
Yeah. I mean, equal inclusion is not forcing. It's, I guess I've said, a lot recently. There used to be a point in time in America where, like, you do you, boo boo, right? Just don't hurt me physically.
Right.
But now we're at the point where, like, morals and ethics and what's right for humanity and what's right for society. And if I'm offended, that's my problem, right? I don't have
Right.
to expect people to change because I'm offended. But yet now that's kind of where we're at is, if I'm offended, you need to stop being you because I'm offended. It's just,
Well, I think time will tell. I think that black people, at least the ones I come across online, at least on YouTube, are little more skeptical. But
sure.
we shall see.
And it is online. Unfortunate thing about where I'm living is, we used to have a real good, pretty diverse thing going for up until the last year, really. And, our black Catholic priest has been ran out of town. Our black pastors, 3 of them have been ran out of town. And
Well, how do you mean run out of town on a rail?
like been threatened. Like if you
They
don't
weren't
leave,
they weren't
Yeah.
tarred and feathered, were they?
close. Cross burnings and stuff like that. Yeah.
Really?
Wait, gee, where do you live at? Jesus, I want to go visit there.
North Idaho.
Yeah, sure you do.
Okay, I've been out there. Yeah, it's pretty. Doesn't
kind
really
of a-
get much whiter than North
It's a weird
Idaho.
thing, it's
Well,
really
look,
diverse though compared to the 90s. It's really cool. It's a real purple area. Real.
let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Could it just be that they were outsiders?
No, not. I mean, okay. So the black Catholic priest was a South African gentleman. He was very dark skinned, very heavy accent.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
he's
okay, I
he's
see
a
what it
Catholic.
is.
He's a Christian.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, it's it's a reminder, that the founding fathers were Christians fleeing persecution from Christians. And the whole separatist movement that's going on up here now that wants to make this part of the area a sovereign nation, a white sovereign nation, right? Not that that will ever happen, but that's what they want, just to convey that. When we have this rhetoric of these sovereign states, that word sovereign means something really deep. It's not just like independent. It's like,
Yeah, you
you
make
know,
your own rules.
it's, there's a reason why we have national standards, right? There's a reason why we have like Roe, for instance, used to give a national standard for healthcare, right? Now we have a bunch of states that say, past this line, you can do this over here, but not that over there. And now you can't travel to go get healthcare. And if you do, it's, this whole thing where having a national standard, in my opinion, is a really good thing. It comes with regulation, whether that can be wasteful, fraudulent, or abused. Obviously, everything can be, right? But when we set national standards, that's like the Department of Education. Is it contributing to the dumbing down? Sure, we can all agree upon that, but does it still set a standard where you're not going to graduate if you don't meet certain X criteria, right? That if you openly allow bigotry and racism in your schools, that your funding gets cut. Well, not anymore, because now we're going to just go ahead and allow that, right? So, because that's reverse
Yeah,
racism.
well, I mean,
We don't want we don't
the
want
thing
racists to
is,
be offended by people that just want to be included, right? So,
well, the thing is that this federalism versus anti-federalism, to use a historical term,
yeah,
has
and
been
nationalism,
has
really.
been well. The thing is to me that whole states' rights thing is the opposite of nationalism.
Sure.
You remember back in it kind of ended after the Civil War, but when Robert E. Lee would hey, I'm not going to I'm going to go fight for my country. He literally called Virginia his country. He was fighting for his country, and I've always found that odd, but a lot of people thought that, and I think
Yeah,
the Civil War changed that.
yeah. For 5/8 of the country, maybe.
But you know what? Again, you know what? What if John Roberts is right? I doubt he is, but what if? Because I have to say, Trump has made, and he made that point this week. I think it was involving the education department, or maybe it was the defense department, where he makes the point that there is civil rights law, the actual law, and he more or less expects everybody to abide by it.
Right. Until you undermine everything that law was based on and
Right.
don't have any responsibility or consequences for when it does get violated.
Well, I mean, he's basically saying he trusts Americans not to be racist.
Sure. I'm sure he does. He's also the guy that, him and his dad were sued multiple times for discrimination, right? He had to make up his own Jewish league to give himself a Jewish trophy. Like, I mean,
Well, it'll all come out in the wash.
how many colored folks are in his cabinet?
Two. Well, one technically in the cabinet, but his pardon czar is black. The one he pardoned in his first administration, he's got her in charge of
And all
looking
the
at
women are
pardons.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed, little, beautiful little gals, aren't they?
Now, I like his press. His is she the communications director, press secretary, whatever she is? She's actually
Yeah.
really good.
Oh, she's great at the spin for sure.
And by the way, I
She's
found
got the
out she's
talking points
married.
down. She definitely has stuff.
She's married to a 60-year-old.
What? Ah,
Huh.
Stanley,
Man.
you got some hope out
Yeah,
here,
you
man.
know what? You don't don't know the hope that gave me.
Jesus Christ.
There's a little more. There's a little more pep in my step today.
Man, Stanley, I keep trying to tell you, man, like, man, women,
No,
especially
they
nowadays,
have a
man.
child. They have a child together.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man,
Caroline.
How
women
old is she?
nowadays
30. I think she's 32.
Damn.
Caroline?
trying to
Hmm.
She's like
trying to tell you.
27 or 28.
Shit.
Yeah.
No, I saw an interview. She interviewed with Megan Kelly.
Yeah.
I think she's. If I recall, she said she's 32,
Trying to
which
tell
is
you,
okay by
Stanley.
me. You know what? Even if my memory's off, even if she is 27, that's even more pep.
That's why, Stanley. I really do think you gotta lower your age range, man. These women nowadays, man, that age thing, it's not as big a deal as you might think.
Well, you know what? It's not so much the actual age as much as what the hell am I going to talk about? You know, I'm not going to sit here and talk Kanye. You know, the his dinner table talk.
Man, Stanley,
You know, I
Stanley.
think listening to the Kanye would be the bigger issue. It's just how you talk about Kanye. You know, there's some things where he makes his news, and I'm not just saying Kanye. But you know, if he makes news, um, you know, some of it is news. What you know, some of the stuff he's tweeting. You know, if he gets debanked, you know, that's probably something within the range of a 30-year-old and you talking about. Now, listen to his music. Now, I don't even listen to his music that much, so that may,
Yeah, well,
you know
you
what I mean.
know, I'm good. Now
Can
I'm
I,
not going to
can I
count.
push
I'm not
back
going to
on
say.
Cold Snake
I'm
here a little
not
bit?
going to say if someone comes knocking at my door or something like that. You know, I'm not saying. I'm saying, and I'm a big believer. You know, due to how I met my wife, I'm actually a big believer in just kind of letting things happen.
Yeah.
They happen the way they are.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, now the thought of me going down, you know, to the club in Atlanta,
Ah,
that's that's not going to happen.
HP, speaking of Atlanta in the club, you hear about Tamar Braxton?
no. What happened with her?
I want to make sure it's Tamar Braxton, so I don't want to call out the wrong person. Somebody be suing me. Let me make sure I got the right person first, just so you know what I'm talking about here.
I didn't know
Uh,
they lived in Atlanta.
I think it's.
Go up to Jersey, hang out with the Jersey boys.
I'm
up
pretty
there.
sure it's her. I'm pretty sure it's her. Give me 1 second. Tamar Braxton takes HIV prep while dating in Atlanta.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Nice.
Is
Well,
it
it's an antiviral.
Jesus Christ?
She says there's so many gays down there. She says she can't take a chance with the down low bros. So she gonna.
Wow.
Wow, that's fucking amazing.
Be prepared.
You know,
You know,
she's
be
hell.
prepared.
She's what 50? Is she 51?
I can look it up.
I
Let me
see
pull
here
it.
she was born in 1977. She's a couple years older than my brother.
Yeah, she's 2 years younger than me.
She's like
Almost
49 or something.
It is. Tamar Braxton takes prep. There she is.
See, it's not just for gays.
Damn.
Yeah, John.
It is,
Yes.
but it's because of gays.
Yeah.
She's not taking it because of straight
You know,
men.
there is nothing wrong with her protecting herself.
No, I'm not. I'm not blaming her. Hey, you can do what you got to do. But damn, the
You know,
state of
she's putting some pep in my step to know someone her age is is that it is that much. Let's just say that much at risk.
Oh yeah. She could still get taken to Pound Town. Yeah.
Damn.
I'm not surprised at all.
Jesus Christ, fucking AIDS.
Man, that is.
Now, see, I think she could have withheld that information.
Yeah. You think it might be like she's.
No.
You think she's like kind of promoting it to women, Stanley, a little bit.
And she's probably a paid Paid influencer.
Yeah, we might see.
Crisis actor.
We might see Michelle promoting it on her next podcast.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah,
That Michelle podcast, boy. Woof. Woof.
yeah. I got
Yeah.
all my notifications on, and I'm just looking. I'm just seeing the titles for them. I'm like, man, Michelle is really. She's like really scraping at the bottom of the barrel with these topics, man. Like, man, this woman is so accomplished, and this is what she's talking about. It's insane.
Yeah, that shit's rough, bro. Rough.
I'm like, man, you see better topics on Hood Conservative. I'm like, come on, Michelle. What are you doing? She
Yeah,
needs to
she's
get
gonna have a
Stanley
hard
up
way to
there.
go.
Yeah,
As in the former first lady?
yeah. She's got her own podcast with her brother.
No shit.
And I'm subscribed, but I usually got to see the title and then I'll click. But the titles she has, I mean, they're so like vanilla, and it's like she, I don't know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like she's doing topics that won't, like nobody will ever have any pushback against, and it's
Like
it's
waste,
almost
fraud, and
like she
abuse.
does. Yeah.
Hey, T, I had Lisa up on yesterday.
Wow.
Called in. And so I asked her, I said, well, what would you like to hear Michelle Obama listen to? Talk about it. Lisa hadn't listened to the podcast. And she was like, I would like to hear more about her and Obama and their relationship. Oh, well, she can't talk about that.
Yeah, she can't
Right.
talk about it.
And so I think that's what everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
Her brother,
Caring
she
for
did-
aging
I think
parents.
they want to see her and her brother, her and her husband. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not her and her brother. Who the hell is her brother? Nobody really knows him. It's not a criticism of him, but he just doesn't have the Q quotient to bring people to the audience there.
It was only like 9 months ago you guys thought she was going to swoop in and take the nomination and end up being president, right?
Nah. I knew she was never gonna run. I knew
Solid
she was-
Snake. You know what? Prices are dropping, huh?
What is he talking about?
Mhm.
Well, he says that Donald Trump might have saved his retirement because prices are dropping.
Mhm.
Like Donald Trump has something
I'd like
to
to
do
know
with
how
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Solid Snake is he has a very
Bless his
unique
heart.
take.
Yeah, fueled by crack cocaine. I'm just playing solid.
Some friendships need to go.
You know, what he doesn't seem to understand is if you are a single old man, of course prices are dropping. You
Is he
don't
talking
buy
about-
much. You don't buy much in the first place.
Is he talking about hookers? The prices are dropping.
Who knows?
John, I thought that was the craziest thing that your roofer said. He said he paid $40 for a whore, and she was attractive. I'm like, man, what the hell? When was this? The 80s? What?
And she stay clean.
Yeah. And
No.
she got tested every week. I'm like, $40? What? In DC? What
Maybe she
the
gave the
hell?
white man discount because he had a truck. He right.
Yeah, maybe. She probably would have charged me like double or something, man. Like, what the hell?
All I
$40?
have to say is
Man.
lasagna's in the wrong place.
Yeah, seriously.
You
Seriously.
live around here. Lasagna used to live around here.
Was that right?
Yeah, he used to live right like immediately behind me. Maybe a couple miles.
Lasagna?
Yeah. He said he lived in
man.
PG
Wow.
County.
Yeah,
He
he
said
got
lived in
that
PG
out.
County. And then he said he moved out of PG County because of crime and shit. I don't know where he moved, but at least where he was in PG County.
Yeah.
And she definitely
Probably
needs some help with her social networking skills here. This is a pretty janky looking page.
Are you looking at
Marcus
Michelle's?
running, Stanley.
Yeah,
You looking at Michelle's
mean,
page?
yeah, decent, you know. I mean, but definitely needs some.
Very,
some work.
very vanilla. Very vanilla. You know, she
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of Meghan Markle a lot. Like, it's like, man, you're royalty, but who the hell are you? Like, I don't. Like,
You
who
know,
the hell are you really?
the
Well,
thing is,
see,
like,
I think her biggest problem is trying to like connect. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, don't be if you're not salt of the earth, don't pretend to be.
I think her biggest problem is that she can't monetize what people want to hear. Like,
Why does she need to monetize at all?
well, but she can't, well, that's what people want to hear. Or forget it. Don't focus on the word monetize, but she can't talk about what people want to hear, and that's the relationship aspect with her and Obama.
Right.
Well,
All the things she's been passionate about, she really can't talk about it.
I guess, you know, I suppose that I'm just I'm as boring as she is. I'm not particularly interested in her life.
Right.
Well, but when she was traveling all around the country selling books, people weren't interested. And I think that you got to give the people, what they want from you, right? And what they want from her is, Michelle around the way girl talking about her husband and being real. That's what people come to the internet for. They don't come to the internet for.
Has she been
You
on the
just be
Breakfast
yourself.
Club yet?
She's been on there. But the big point is she can't be real no matter where she goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, she like, why you didn't go to the inauguration, Michelle? She could talk about it. That would be big ratings. She can't do that. She can't be honest.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel sorry for her
Yeah.
because she's trying to be something that she isn't. Like, could you imagine me, wanting to talk about, intimate details about my life? I'd be like, fuck y'all.
But
I have enough money
Stanley,
now.
done it up here.
Stanley, you do it all the time. Stanley, what are you talking about?
Well, no,
I
you
feel
know
like
what?
I-
Like I told
Not to the
someone the other day, I reveal what I want y'all to know.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to reveal something, and like you got to touch on the things that people are coming here to hear you talk about. Like, and
Well, people don't come in here to hear me talk about the tea ceremony.
well, but and so things her her daughter dropping her last name, her daughter working for Weinstein. She could talk about that, right? She's, I really didn't think it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea. Glad nothing happened. Hate to hear what he's done to other people. There are things you could talk about without, being this,
Well, how are you gonna be taken as a good mother when you go, hey, I hope he doesn't rape my daughter?
Well, you just said, we didn't know it. We didn't know it was that behavior. We met him and he seemed okay with us. Hate to hear what happened to him. It seemed like, things he was doing, didn't have, she doesn't have to say, she's not going to acknowledge that she knew about it clearly. But people doing it, she could broach the topic at least, I think. To make the podcast.
She would do better just to stay at home and be like a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Now I have to admit, she has no business doing a podcast. Just trying to be,
I can
in
see some
every
relevance.
woman in a symbol.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
How many people are going to be first lady of any color? She's a rare bird.
But Stanley, as we talked about yesterday, yesterday was an interesting. I don't know if HB was here. I think HB was here. The black lady laying up in bed talking about all the men she's humbling.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
I saw that.
And I'm like, humbling. Like she's humbled this man. And he texted her. She humbled him by it. But he texted her a day after. Or he texted her 2 days after. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about it. And she humbled him. But in reality, she was second, third fiddle for him. And so it was her way of coping and getting likes and going viral. It was a cope, right? And I think, in some ways, Michelle wants some attention. Most women do. And YouTube is a way to get some positive affirmation. You get some negative too, but you can get some positive affirmation, the likes, the clicks, the go girl or YouTube super chat. Tell them, girl. And I think, that's probably her motivation for getting on YouTube, in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
She
right
did.
now, and this again is my opinion, but she's over 60. What does she care? Why? I hear you saying she does care, and obviously she does. For the life of me, I don't understand why.
Stanley be 60-year-old women twerking with their granddaughters on Twitter. And
Yeah,
YouTube.
and you know what? I don't subscribe to their channels.
I don't either, but I don't deny that it exists. It exists. Women like attention. It's the attention generation. Or
Yeah, that's everybody though.
you go live, man. It be motherfuckers going live just doing stupid shit on their way
Yeah.
to jail. Hey, you guys, I'm going live on my way to jail. Turn myself in. It's gonna be the last time, guys. Like most people, you who would think I'm going live on your way to jail? But people do.
Well, I was looking at some guy crying because he's losing his business and blaming Trump, and I was like, What is it? What is it in you that makes you want to get on YouTube and cry on camera? So I guess you're right.
I think it's well, I think in that sense, and in Michelle's sense, it's like I have a unique perspective that I can offer, whether anybody wants it or not. BFD, right? Big fucking deal. I'm going to offer it anyways, and those that want to engage can
I
engage.
guess, but I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just overthinking it.
TikTok
be
is
like,
all those videos right now, brother. Like straight.
Well, I don't even have a TikTok account. See, I don't do
It's
a
pretty
lot
sad. Like it's 99% Republicans, right? Coming on and saying this is how the guy that I voted for is screwing me personally.
Ain't no way TikTok 99%.
No, is Trump taking
It's just,
part?
yeah, bro. It's
I thought TikTok were mostly young people.
yeah, it's yeah. Not. I mean, it depends on what your algorithm is pushing you as well. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean that.
Well, now
political
that Trump
spectrum
has
over there,
saved
so,
it,
but I don't think there's any. I mean, rationalizations and justifications, right? We never see the addiction when we're in the addiction, right? We rationalize, we justify. As soon as we're poked in the eye, we're instant denial and fight or flight, and then into that rhythm of rationalize, justify, delusions of grandeur, victim complex, and then we sleep on it a couple nights and we realize that maybe we're acting a little irrational, but we don't change, right? We just stay in that loop, right? Because change is hard. And
well, I'm gonna be honest. I really think that both the Obamas, but Michelle in particular, and I'm gonna sound like John here. You never see Laura Bush doing shit like this.
Well, a different generation too. Now, it's a different generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't taking up for Obama, but they coming from the internet generation. Hell, that's kind of what propelled him into office. The youth. So I imagine there's still some appeal to
What she needs to do. What she
I
needs
wouldn't
to be
consider
doing.
Michelle to be a trad wife by any means.
I think what's happening is really this is it may be an attempt, because they see they're losing their grip. I think politically, they're being washed out to sea with all the other older politicians. It seems like to me a new wave is coming through.
And all I have to say is I understand. I think politicians, actors, people who kind of thrive on out in the public eye, the public gaze, I will never understand them. If I were her, I would be willing to just fade away into the history books and be done with it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is though too. I really do think it's monetary. She has a certain lifestyle where she has to kind of upkeep it. It's not like she can go move back to Chicago, you know. And I think because when we did watch that podcast, the one thing I noticed, and I was telling Portia this, that she's sponsored by somebody. This is a money grab right here. And when we watched that podcast, we saw those advertisements, the live advertisement. It wasn't even YouTube advertisements.
Yeah,
She's
that was
I
tacky.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, that was
That's
very,
for me.
yeah, it was very tacky for someone like of her stature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and I'm with John on this.
now me
I
doing
mean,
it, if I was on here advertising pawn shops and shit, nobody would say that.
well,
But-
you know
but
that
think
Ted
about
Cruz
it,
has
John.
a second job as like a congressman, right? His first job is being a podcaster.
I mean, I can see a congressman because it's kind of low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's low. It's
I
400.
mean, she's literally a historical figure.
Yeah.
Right. But think about it, John.
I
Think
think
about
it's
if
an
some
attention grab.
think
think
if,
it's all
think
about
if some
attention.
think of, about if some pawn shop was reached out to you and said, "Hey, John, I'll pay you $1,000 a week to advertise on your show." You telling me you're not gonna do it?
Or I do it.
Yeah,
Do they pay
exactly.
you?
But that's along the lines of what I do anyway. I'm down there.
I
with
know, I know. But I think mind you, look at the companies that did sponsor her. It was Pine Saw and it was
Theraflu.
some Theraflu,
Therefore,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, these are probably billion-dollar companies. You know, like
I mean, if you're Tim Pool, you can get
Well,
sponsored
yes,
by
like
So
Solid Snake, you saying that the liberal mindset is very scary is hilarious.
And I think honestly, the more and more I think about it, and I know I'm gonna get some criticism here. But like I like to think outside of the box, and these people talk about businesses, black businesses. She black girl health and all this. Let's move. I mean, she could give sponsorship time to small businesses of any ilk on her show, right?
but that,
That would be more admirable.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna be snarky here.
Like
What she
giving.
needs to do is grab Malia and shake her and tell her to stop looking so weird.
Well, she need to grab her and put her on the show. Get that unattractive off the show. That's what
I
she needs.
mean, Malia's looking rough.
But you can dress her up and make her look cute, right? She's still young. Like I rather hear
Oh
her.
no. I think she looks. The older she gets, the more she looks like her father.
She always gonna look better than her mom.
The younger one is like really cute,
hmm
if not a little pudgy. But now Malia, I think Malia's the oldest one. Yeah, somebody needs to mother her. She needs to get off the podcast
I mean,
and
I'd
go mother
say she was just
that
wish-
child.
I mean,
No, but
would-
John, I actually agree with Stanley. It would be admirable. It would be admirable if she did that. She was sponsoring, curly, kinky hair products.
Yeah.
Gold
Afro
Glow.
Sheen.
Yeah,
That
Soul
Gold
Glow.
Glow. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I think the reality is she needs those checks, man. She needs those billion-dollar companies to sponsor her.
Let me
Because
ask you
she's
this.
still
To do what? She's
Hold on,
already got millions.
Hold on. Let me ask HB this question. You think she's trying to get her own bag to go her own way?
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
She's already got her own bag. She's got books.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
She's probably worth more than Barack.
nah.
I mean,
I
if it was
don't
a
know.
money grab, she'd be out on a book tour. She'd be doing speeches for a
She-
couple
she's
$500,000
done-
here, $500,000 there. Like,
She does all of those things. That's the thing. She literally. That's why I'm. When you look at most presidents and stuff, either they have a lot of money coming into it, or they have these political connections that can make them a lot of money. And I just don't really see it with the Obamas like that.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. HB, like, and I know Sandra's gonna push back, but he didn't lay a groundwork of Obamaites that are still here. That he, kind of his people.
Well, when you're running the country from the background, you really don't have to have those.
What I'm saying, yeah, well, okay, but the Hillary Clinton people with Bill, they still have a lot of people right now. They're aging out. You see the guy from Louisiana, crawfish guy. He's getting old, long in the tooth. He's arguing. He wants the money. What they happened to the money? But all of that old group is seemingly being pushed out, right? And the Democrats are trying to find a new group, and they're not looking to Obama or Kamala. Biden's too old to even ask for guidance or leadership, and so there's just a void there.
Trump's older than Biden.
By the way, Biden is looking to do something. I
Really?
just read an article yesterday morning. He's looking to get back into the public eye.
Really?
Yeah.
And that shows you that it's all up for grabs.
Yep.
It's all up for grabs.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now what they need to do, because Generation X, the Obamas are, a little bit older, but not by much. The Clintons need to move on. They're basically albatrosses around the Democratic Party, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Clintons have been washed out. I mean, they still have the old guard there.
Well, they're old as shit.
I mean, they still have but what I'm talking about is the old guard, like the Center for American Progress. I think Podesta founded that.
Yep.
It's still pretty big. It's still pretty big around here, and it sees a lot of Clintonites and those type of people. Ryan, he would know you're right. But a lot of young people who come here and they want to be political, they go to the Center for American Progress. But it's not what it used to be. There are probably other groups. We've had Africans call in. They work for trans organizations. And so it seems to be a lot of splintering of the organizations, all vying for power. But there is no one central group that can, corral all those groups. Obama's out.
Very true.
Biden's out to sea. The Clintons are all out to sea. You need something to get the people to rally around. And right now, I don't see that person.
And right now, who's making the big comeback?
Well,
Old Bernie.
Who? Bernie?
Old Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie's old.
Yeah, man, he's out
just
doing.
So you know,
He's out in Republican areas with AOC.
The Democratic Party had a record intake of money in February. The DNC did.
That's interesting.
$9 million.
That's interesting.
Wait, Stanley, what does that
Compared
mean?
to the billions.
What does that mean?
Well, it means in Trump's first office, the DNC collected a record number of donations, small dollar donations mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So the Democrats aren't down and out yet, and if people are out or they're anti-Clinton, anti-Michelle, they seem to be okay donating to the party.
Yeah, it just comes down to who's going to get control of that money, and be able to run the organization. And right now, it seems that they kind of have a void there. I saw the leading candidates for president were Waltz, Newsom, and Buttigieg.
Waltz is done. He's done.
I think so too. Yeah. Buttigieg. I think he has some potential.
America will not.
But he's gay.
Elect. Yeah, he's not going. They're not going to elect a gay president.
No way.
Yeah.
That's worse than a black lady.
For some reason, I think he has
Look
potential.
at the style of the world.
I think if he were a little bit,
Jokes Putin would make.
if he looked like Newsom, maybe, but he looks a little soft, right?
Yeah.
He's too corporate. He's uptight. He's a paid shill as far as it goes. Like he's part of the system.
Well, yeah, but if you've ever seen him on Fox News, Buttigieg, they love him on Fox News. He shreds those dudes. He and Bernie.
Yeah, John, I can see them.
But
I can see
as
them
soon as he shreds them, they turn around and make fun of him.
I can see a
Yeah.
black. I can see a black woman being president before a gay man being president. Honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see Booty as a VP.
And even that, what's he gonna run? Booty for America.
Booty.
Booty for
I mean, he's a smart
America.
dude. He knows what's going on. I mean, that's you think
No,
Pete
he's
Hegseth
well
has a chance
informed.
of becoming president, right? You
Mhm.
think any of these nominees that are in the cabinet now or on these in these unelected appointed positions have any chance to become president? Or I mean,
On
these
the
are folks
MAGA
that have
side?
no idea about anything at all to do with government that are put in charge of things that they've rallied against for the past 10 years.
I tell you, they set Buttigieg up very well, by making him the Department of Transportation Secretary. That's what he was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was.
That's a pretty good position, man. In terms of trying to transition to, executive VP. It's a pretty good position.
Transportation, transient, trans.
There's a joke in there somewhere, Stanley.
I'm searching for
What
it.
do you think about that?
The irony is so thick, you can cut it with a knife.
It's in there somewhere.
But no, I think you hit on something big there, John, that, there's so many factions and so many different sects and sections and different little groups that just can't, for some reason, get along. And, you got that much diversity. Yeah, it can be a thing where these little tiny groups just can't
Yeah.
find a common ground. They can't find a common goal. Or
I used to always
That's right. It's not like MAGA where we can all agree that
Yeah. No, but
That-
Stanley, you're right though. It's MAGA is like, it's almost like it's dumbed down politics for MAGA.
Yeah.
We're like we can.
well, no, I think the unity centers around othering,
Yeah.
having migrants to be mad at and kick out to unify.
Yeah,
Well, but-
that's
they,
what I
them,
mean,
and the
though.
others, bro.
But
They, them, and
we
the
also, but we also look at the other side, right? I've been looking at all these Tesla fires, people keying Teslas, burning them up. One side clearly will turn to violence if they can't get their way, and that's running people away. Just imagine you're a big time Democrat,
Only one
you're a
side.
Democrat, and then someone come around, key your car, burn your Tesla up, right? And
Yeah, John, the left needs its own January 6th.
I mean, they've been
Shooting Bud Light cans with an automatic machine gun is not violent.
Has anyone been hearing about the Tesla owners being doxxed? Has anyone heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're very serious, man.
The irony too. I would almost bet that the majority of Tesla owners are probably liberals.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the irony.
Did you hear about like when Donald Trump doxed all the federal judges and all their families and their kids and stuff? Like,
I didn't hear about that.
yeah, I mean, come on.
But again, like these are people that aren't may or may not be in the fray. I don't know about what you're talking about, the politicians, judges who were doxxed. I do know this, that a man was arrested outside of John Roberts' house here in DC area with a gun. I do know that, right? And I don't think he was sent by Donald Trump. I think it was about the abortion ruling or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, right after.
But to be going after cars, we're to the point now where I'm willing to just give you the people. You want to go after the people, take your best shot. But just cars and shit, you don't even know who owns the car.
And then John too, and you remember, like, because I was in Chicago, you were in DC, how much they pushed for these Teslas to be in these major cities. It's like a mind fuck at this point. Like, you guys forced these Teslas on us, now you're burning them.
You know what crazy? As you say that, HB, I will bet you a large percentage of people that own Teslas are poor Uber drivers and shit. That were induced into buying the motherfuckers because of the cities they were in, like New York and DC.
Well, now that Trump has bought a Tesla or says he's going to buy a Tesla, you think that'll spur Republicans to start buying them?
Well, I think it's going to spur people to continue destroying them and keying them. It's like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you know what I read the other day, HB? You ain't going to believe that. I think I covered it here. Maybe I didn't. No, I didn't cover it. storage of Teslas is now going up. Like if you want to park a Tesla in New York or something,
Yeah.
the threat that motherfucker might blow it up, right? You know,
Wow.
the parking.
You guys remember the Ford Pinto, right? Remember the Ford
Yeah.
Pinto used to get rear-ended and it would catch on fire, you know, right? Remember how many Ford Pintos caught on fire from being rear-ended?
I think it only took one to make light of the situation.
It was like 37 or 38
Yeah.
total
Yeah,
over like the
the
10-year
insurance,
period, right?
the insurance has got to be crazy.
You know how
now on
many
Teslas?
Teslas have just spontaneously combusted?
But you know, it's one thing for a car to spontaneously combust. It's another thing for someone to set fire, arson to a car. You know,
Yeah, like not even being plugged in or nothing, just catches on fire sitting in a guy's driveway, right?
I mean, you know, that's the
Over
reason.
4,000.
suck,
Over
but so do all
4,000,
the
right?
other
In
EVs.
America,
But if
over
I
4,000.
Tesla
would-
suck, but so do all the other EVs. That's not exclusive to Tesla.
Sure, but Volvo and Honda and
But I mean,
Toyota
those are
aren't having-
all gas-powered
Audi's not
vehicles.
having the same problems.
we'll get to
Yes, they do.
Hold on, we'll
Are
get-
you not reading the news?
we get to this.
Yeah, I am.
But we get to
Well, obviously you're
the
not.
same numbers, though. Not at the same numbers.
Yes, they
Hold on.
are.
Hold on,
What are you talking about?
why are we talking about this? I thought we were talking about people destroying the Teslas. I
Yeah.
thought-
You got them.
I don't wanna-
moving
No,
up
it's not me. I'm just trying to get him back on track because he
I
just
don't want to get it better. Like, you know, again,
the vein that he's coming from has just been liberal all this month. I'm just listening to him. I'm like, God damn! I'm like, what is this dude talking about?
I mean, if you
You
buy a
gotta say
Tesla,
something and then
Well,
you
my
go.
my lord,
What
my lord,
happens when
Black.
you're going through denial and then fight or flight?
No, that's not the point. The point here is that they say something and then you just pointedly start
Are we really going to
lambasting
do
the
us
right.
and
I'm like,
them?
what is he talking about?
I
I
think
know
it's
you
too-
haven't
We're
heard
all
these talking
we're
points,
all
right?
one panel.
I know you
I
haven't.
get it.
Good.
My point is,
points of view. Two
my
different.
point here is that you said you started talking about people burning the Teslas. What did he say immediately? What did he say immediately?
Yeah. He was
Something
deflecting a little
about
bit.
something about he roasted marshmallows on a burning Tesla.
And he just
something
started
like that.
genuflecting. I'm like, what is this dude talking about? And then you
Well,
talk about what is the topic? He ain't on the topic.
Jihad, this isn't conservative versus liberal. This is MAGA versus liberal. MAGA is not conservative. Don't you dare demean conservatives like that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Fatty, you can see kind of the hypocrisy though in
Oh yeah,
burning the Teslas though. Like when,
absolutely.
they,
You know
they
what?
literally,
Let
they
me
literally,
let me just set you straight. The hypocrisy is all in your head. Okay? People obviously don't care about who owns the Tesla as much as sending a message about the Tesla. So
Which
the
is destroy everybody's
hypocrisy,
personal property.
in my
That's smart.
opinion, the
Fucking
hypocrisy is
brilliant.
rhetorical. I will let the conspiracy theorists among you talk about the hypocrisy.
well, Stanley, the hypocrisy is they wanted the Tesla.
I get your point, and
Right,
I'm
right.
basically saying your point is only for those true believers.
But you could clearly see the hypocrisy. I mean,
No,
they,
I don't clearly see it.
I
It
clearly
depends on
see it. It's
it
very-
depends on how. See, my framing is different than yours.
I'm not
I
okay.
think
So
I think it's all about Elon, not so much about the owners.
right?
No,
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 it's-
no.
it-
One
that's not his
100%.
point. Of course, it's about Elon. Of course, they're
Right.
saying they don't.
Right.
like
So
Elon.
I'm only concentrating on what it's about. I leave the irony or the
But the irony
hypocrisy.
is a pivotal part of this entire thing.
Well, see, if you are you,
It
if you're
isn't just
if
I am
you're me,
the irony
if
is
you're
these are people.
if
The
you're
irony
me-
here is these are all
you're-
tree hugging. Listen, these are all
You're
tree hugging
absolutely
lithium
right.
That's right.
battery.
you want to
Yes.
you want to concentrate on the
These are all
owners.
tree hugging
Right.
lithium battery.
You
kissing
want to-
liberals who
you
said
want
that
to
this is what they
concentrate on the
wanted.
you
They
want
said
to
this is what they
concentrate on
wanted.
the victims.
And then they
I want to
and then they go
concentrate on
and
the
they burn down
blacks.
buildings.
Blacks.
Who
And they
funded
go,
your
the charging
sound-
station?
and they go
Black.
and they destroy cities.
Blacks. You sound
Right.
silly.
No,
You
I
sound
silly
totally
when
silly.
This is what they are doing.
Come on.
Okay,
Hi, Brian.
what they are
I'm so happy.
doing is
The challenge that I would,
protesting.
the challenge
It's
that I would pose,
about
challenge-
Elon.
the challenge
It's
that I would
not
pose
about
is
the owners.
the challenge that I would pose is this: who on the other side of this coin, or this conundrum, is doing the same.
I have no clue where you're going with this. Tell
The
me.
point here is that that's where the irony comes from. You have people sit and tell you that this is what they want.
And what did I
And
say,
the point
Black?
here is that they don't
Black.
know what they
What
want.
did I
What
say
they
about
want
the
is
irony?
chaos.
You were too busy talking to hear
What they
I
want
said
is
about the
chaos.
irony.
That's
What
exactly
the
what they want.
corporations want.
Irony is for
The irony is that they want chaos. They want to
the
destroy the very
irony
thing that
is
they
for the
advocated for.
irony
Regardless
is
of
for
who
the MAGA.
created it,
Dude,
that's what
I'm
they
gonna put
that's
you in
what
the
they
back.
champion.
That's exact.
Regardless of what they
I
of
will
who
get
created it,
my
that's what
point
they
across.
champion. They
I will get
championed
my
this,
point
and
across.
now they
Dude,
want to burn it
you're
down
not hearing me.
because they don't.
I will get my point across, which is I leave the irony for the MAGA hacks. I'm looking at why people are doing it, not who they're doing it to. Now, my point has been made. You can go ahead.
And I was going ahead if you didn't so
Until I put
childishly
until
me
I
down
put
the
you
way
in the
did.
back.
Hey,
Yes.
listen, this is what I'll say. This is what I'll say, child. When it comes to the irony, you have to look at not only that these people hate Elon, you have to look at the fact that these people
I
are
don't have to
destroying
do
the
shit,
very
Blacks.
thing they championed. They said they
Blacks.
wanted it. Now they
I
do.
don't have to do shit.
That's it. I'm not telling you who you have to do. I'm telling you the people at large.
No, I thought
You
I
can
heard you
be-
say you
can
have
be.
to.
You can be. Did I say? Listen. You can be who you want to be. What I'm telling you is that I'm not going to look through the Overton window that you pose. Just like you
Well,
won't
thank
do.
you for
with me.
telling me what you're
All
going
right,
to
there
do.
you go. And
It's,
so
it's
when
noted.
we're talking about a broad, when we're talking about a broader
that we
spectrum,
aren't talking
when we're
about
talking about a
broad
broader
shit.
spectrum, this is
You are
exactly what it
talking
means.
about it,
These
not
people don't
me.
know what they want. They are
I
mass
like-
destructionists.
I like
All
got a
they want
challenge
to
to
do
offer.
is cause chaos. You gonna put
I
me
got a
down
challenge.
again because
I
I
like-
won't heed your
I
point?
like concentrating on what
Well,
the
your
problem.
concentration's wrong.
Okay, well, motherfucker, you don't get to tell me what's wrong.
Well, didn't you tell me I was?
Yes, I did.
All right, so motherfucker, I get
No,
to
no,
tell
no.
you you're
Yeah,
wrong.
you're thinking this is
Hey,
this is
First
like a
Amendment, baby. Well, guess
level-
what? You're gonna put me
I am
down.
the left wing Trump.
Are you
I'm an
gonna put me down
autocrat
again?
on this panel.
Not really.
You know, one thing I
So you're more like this.
one thing I can compare it to though is kind of January 6th, but I think the difference is when you compare it.
Oh wow.
When you compare this to January 6th, at least with January 6th, they were going after the people they perceived as the actual enemies.
What do they burn
Well,
down?
you know
Like
what
Charlotte.
the difference is, HB? What the
Yeah.
difference is? Nobody's gone to jail that I know of yet.
Oh no, people have gone to jail about this.
Oh, they
the
have?
arsons and stuff.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
they
yeah,
have.
oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you know what? I haven't been keeping up with it.
You know the funny thing about Teslas is they have about 12 cameras on them. Yeah, people been going to jail about that. Yeah. They got cameras. They got panoramic cameras, man. They got cameras
The
all
question
over
is,
that
who
thing.
causes mass destruction upon millions and billions of dollars?
Yeah, no, in Black.
This is going to really put setback.
Well, who?
climate
Tell
change
us, Blacks.
agenda,
Don't
which
keep
is
us in
sad.
suspense.
Oh, the ones you tell me don't matter.
Oh no, I didn't say they didn't matter. I said I'm concentrating on
what
why they're. I'm concentrating on why they're doing it.
How many cases did the National Transportation Safety Board have against any other vehicle maker other than Tesla?
No, but I can
Oh,
tell
do you think
you.
this is about the fires? Do you think it's about the fires and not the lunacy of these ridiculous?
No, like about the
These
crumple
idiots-
zones
these
and the fact that they're
These idiots
unsafe.
forced everybody to buy these cars and gave out $300 billion to make people buy
Nobody's
these
forced
dumb
anybody to
cars, and now they're destroying them. It's
Exactly.
literally insanity.
You can't make this up.
That's the hypocrisy.
You can't make
Yeah.
this up.
Oh wait, are you on that? Are you on that hypocrisy train too, Ryan?
By the way, okay, Stanley, don't
Thank you for
even.
mentioning that.
You know it's
Oh, no.
hypocritical.
Like I said, I leave it.
The
I
single
leave
guy
it
that's
to
done more for the environment than
leave it
any
to
person
the
in the
back-
world, they're
I
destroying
leave
his
it
cars.
to I leave it to the MAGA folks to concentrate on things that don't really matter.
Well, those who are long in the tooth are the ones who gave him $300 million. Okay, so I don't know who's long in the tooth. Maybe Biden, the one who actually who wanted armored Teslas.
The man can't even talk.
He ordered them.
I don't
He
know.
ordered them.
You guys,
He's asleep half the time.
you guys leave out pivotal information. Okay,
Well, see,
If
it's
you're
not
telling me- you're
pivotal.
telling this other
It's
guy
only
is saying,
pivotal
who
to
did the
people like
transportation-
you.
Who did the Department of Transportation
To normal
have
people,
issues,
it's not
have
pivotal.
lawsuits against? They have lawsuits against everyone, but notwithstanding the lawsuits against them for not upgrading the train tracks that caused that massive fire a couple years ago.
You know what?
What's that one?
Often do you get? How often do you ever stick to a point, Blacks?
I'm waiting. I'm trying to figure out the same thing about you.
I got to
You know what?
I haven't.
Like I
witnessed it
said,
yet, Stanley.
really
my
easy
point.
Stanley, I
my
haven't
point-
witnessed it yet.
My
Not
point
yet.
is
Not
why
with all
they're
your balloon
doing it.
popping or anything else. I haven't witnessed it yet.
You know what? That's because you don't shut up long enough to hear it.
It takes one to know one.
Hey, and
I got a
Stanley,
super
uh,
easy
Stanley,
challenge. It's a really easy one if you guys want to partake. It's super
wait,
easy.
No, I don't.
I wanna.
Name one thing that Donald Trump's ever done wrong in his whole entire life.
Come on.
Yeah, I can. You want me to start? The initial tariffs were financially costly in 2018. And China retaliated quickly with rare earths. I can go down the list of his errors because
Cool. So you're not
I'm an
Nicole. That's
independent.
cool. All I need to know.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Hey, hey, and do you guys
Okay.
think with Jihad's comment right here on the screen, do you guys think this is kind of fueling the vitriol towards Tesla and Elon? I mean, because
You know what?
in reality, those major cities they made Tesla what it is, honestly. I don't really see too many Teslas out in the sticks. I don't really.
There are quite a
Yeah,
number
there's
of
not.
Teslas out where I
No,
live.
Stanley, don't make up lies, Stanley.
No,
This
there's
is
not.
for
You
the
know
year
what,
20.
Ryan?
Come on,
Ryan,
man. Get the hell
Ryan,
out of here.
You
I don't
need
see
to.
any
You and
Teslas.
Blacks. You and Blacks need to
My
get
neighbor, in fact,
together
my neighbor tried to
and put a
drive
couple brain
his
cells
F-
together.
Look,
tried to drive his his Model Y out to Oklahoma to Broken Bow or wherever the heck that place is where they have the cabins. They could not find one charging station on their way there. In fact, his wife
Couldn't find a charging
lost
station in
charge.
a red state. Imagine that.
lost charge at that time, and then they had to tow it. They had to have a mobile charging guy that cost them several $100s to come out and charge the vehicle. So no, they're not out in the sticks. They're not out in the
They're
sticks.
they're quite a number out where I live.
Okay.
Yeah.
and if the prices keep coming down, I'm gonna be buying me one.
Especially Uber drivers.
You should buy stock right now too.
Oh yeah,
Definitely buy stock. Buy all the stock. Put every penny you can into Tesla stock right now. Do it.
Now I'm gonna buy me a Tesla. I'll just put a generator on the roof of that shit. Just strap it right on with a
Why
with a
not?
come on.
Solar panel
Yeah.
generator, right?
Great investment.
Stanley,
I tell you one thing. Go ahead. Benjamin.
Uber and Tesla, they had a deal a long time ago where you could basically rent Uber for every
Right.
week. You could rent it weekly to ride Ubers, and you get like a discounted price. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of Uber drivers driving those things.
Well, all I have
No,
to say is I've
they're
talked to a
driving
few Uber
Hondas and
drivers.
they're
They're all
driving
pretty
Priuses.
happy with their Teslas.
Oh yeah. For Uber,
I'd buy
I
one.
mean, you could get 500,000 miles on those Teslas. It's amazing for Uber. You know,
I don't want to
before
get the
they replaced that
self-driving
battery-
one though. I want the
Just like
self-driving.
any other EV on the market.
The
It's cheaper and
decapitator.
safer.
Well, China's about to dilute this market wholly. So
They're not in though. They're not in. They can't get in yet.
It doesn't. Even with
once they do though, it's
even with 100% tariffs on them, they're going to dilute the market. You can still get one of those vehicles for what $20,000, $24,000 for a luxury type vehicle. They're going to dilute the market.
BYD, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get them, man. I don't know.
Well, they already have them test driving in Alaska. They already have
they?
them. They account for 30% of the new vehicles in Mexico. So yeah, they are at our doorstep, and
Great.
it's gonna happen. Plus,
Is the government forcing the hand of the automakers to go electric?
No, they were forcing the hand to go electric. Your boy Biden was doing that, along with Buttigieg, and
Forcing them.
Yes, forcing them. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're creating tremendous
Well,
incentives and credits. And,
Thank God Trump has put an end to that.
And then, but who's stopping the train? Toyota, Honda, the Korean.
They don't want to compete on a world market, right? They're only making things for America, right?
No, they're not only making these for America, but they have stopped wholly because the technology is such that it is unsustainable. They can't make them fast enough. The rare earth materials needed for the batteries are few and far in between. I'm telling you, and what was that? Was it during Q1 Toyota or before that? It was Q4 last year. Toyota, Honda, and the others, even China came out and said, "Hey, we're going to scale back on these damn electric vehicles. They were going to focus more on hybrids because
everyone's going high.
They can't make the
come to
batteries.
find out, you need a combustion engine in order to make these things tenable."
Yeah. Because I think hybrid is way better than EVs, especially right now.
It's the biggest selling truck right now, right? The Ford EcoBoost.
Yeah, still, even though it's the biggest selling, marketing wise, it's still not netting the profits that they want. Period. And that's why they are scaling back. To us, we see billions. We're like, damn, you're making billions. How are you not winning? And then they're just looking. They've already calculated this. They've already seen in the future that it's not going to net them the dividends that they want. Hence, they're scaling back, and they're going more hybrid.
Well, one thing I was going to say about Tesla is a lot of their money has been made in the last 5 years from carve outs, like carbon credit. They sell carbon credits. They're,
Government subsidies.
It's government subsidies. And which, by the way, were largely created by a certain group. I don't want to name names, but it was the Biden administration.
I'm telling you. And listen,
Actually, it was the Obama administration.
He got him started. He got it started.
Let's not forget, like, the past 4 years isn't the only thing that's ruined this country, right?
Believe me, that's not what we are saying.
I just think it's funny.
However, it's funny with all these NGOs and all this money that we've seen that's been spent. Thank you, Doge. It's funny that all these companies, every single one of them, listen, it's not just exclusive to Tesla. We got Disney. They lost. I remember when they said they lost 720,000 subscribers to their flagship Disney Plus. That was losing money still. And then you come to find out USAID had spent money to buy 720,000 subscriptions. And oops, they just disappeared, didn't they?
What do you know?
I don't know. Let's talk about what's Dell. Dell sells exclusively to the government.
So are we here just to take a rundown of companies?
I'm so glad Black is here. I'm so glad Black Certifies here. I'm so glad he's here.
We're here just to annoy you. I'm happy to do that.
You know what? And you do a better job than most.
Yeah, that's my job, Stanley.
Well, I just was thinking about tax cuts for the rich, and largely Elon's done very well from a lot of the tax cuts for the environmental shit, right? So tax cuts for the rich. Well, he's just simply playing by the game of that the Democrats created incentives to go environmental, and he did, and now they're like tax cuts for the rich. It doesn't make sense.
He was a Democrat up until about 1.5 years ago, right?
Yeah, so was Trump up until
he was
years ago.
Until you learn how to work.
Yeah, Dan, you need to send your little minion Solid Snake up here to complete the job.
John, were you about to say something? We kind of cut you off like 8 minutes ago. What were you about to say?
Oh no, I can't think of anything. I was thinking though about that insurance though. The insurance gonna kill them Uber drivers. Like if you
Oh,
drive
yeah.
Uber,
yeah.
that shit gonna bust their ass right there.
Uber drivers aren't driving freaking Teslas, bro. They're the most expensive EV on the market, and they're the least safe.
Bro, there's a lot of Ubers and Tesla drivers. I ride in them all the time. As HB said, the cities incentivize these people to get them. And there's a luxury category that Uber fits into as an Uber driver. So it's a benefit of
I
getting.
see more Priuses and Hondas and shit.
But Prius doesn't qualify as a luxury vehicle. So if you want a luxury like a black
Well,
car,
sure. Gotcha.
driver. So a lot of Uber drivers get the what's the fuck is it called? Tesla, yeah.
Yeah, the Tesla.
Should be able to get the luxury ride. And now the insurance going up.
Volvo and Audi are way more luxury than that.
But those are probably much more expensive cars. I'm not sure. I'm not in the cars like that, but they're going to be facing some increasing premiums on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think this is this
I wanna
might
ask-
be from Elon's perspective, this might be the wrong. It might have been the wrong move for him to go into politics because he's
Why do you think?
because he's essentially sacrificing his business for it.
Yeah.
I don't
price
see
is
it that
gonna
way
pay.
whatsoever.
Bro. Look at the stock.
Yeah, no, the stock is getting hammered right now.
Yeah, but wasn't it getting hammered? Wasn't it getting hammered 2 years ago? Do you don't remember that when they were saying everybody should liquidate their shares immediately? It was lower than this.
Well, that's because of Twitter. It's political.
That
But
was
it's all political, and you can't operate at that level.
100%.
Any business
And I think
without
it
it
shows
being political.
That was in
Like-
2019, right? When we had a major collapse of the economy because of a certain thing.
And he was still getting money from USAID and from all the rest of the
Wait, Blacks,
from all the rest of the NGOs.
Blacks, why don't you think he's kind of sacrificing, or just why do you disagree?
I think you can liken this to Chase, or I'm sorry, or J.P. Morgan, when with their infamous meeting on Jekyll Island. Okay, you give a little to get a little. Okay, I am in no means an Elon fan, but I'm not going to sit here and lie. Okay, and I'll tell you, this guy is spending billions to get a return somewhere, and I don't
I see
believe.
what you're saying. I see.
And I do not
I see what
believe.
you're saying. I see what you're
Definitely don't believe that he is sacrificing any business of his. He's too much of a narcissist. Period.
I think if you put it like that though, this might be a sacrifice just to get something bigger in return.
I mean,
Because even when you compare it to like these Chinese EVs, I mean Tesla doesn't even compare to those things.
the Chinese EVs are made from tinfoil and and cheap plastic. Yeah, I'm
Duct
telling
tape,
you, listen,
bubble gum.
all these vehicles, every one of them that we drive. But the thing is that all that glitters is not gold. They're coming in here looking real shiny and nice, and they don't have the same parameters that we put on American vehicles to keep them safe. And even with the parameters on American vehicles, you still see they're prone to blow up, even if you have a combustion in its engine. So a lot of it's political, of course. Okay, but all I'm saying is that when you make that juxtaposition, when you say, he's sacrificing something, yeah, of course, we all do to get what we want. Okay, he's just doing it on a megalomaniac scale. You know what I mean? We couldn't fathom losing 50 billion.
Hey, Blacks, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible that he didn't calculate? He miscalculated. He's not a genius.
Very possible. Very possible. We can't calculate everything. No, of course. But do I think he has a team of people along with himself who look for these eventualities? Absolutely. And do I think he has a contingency plan? Absolutely. Do I think that this is part of it? Yes. I don't think that he's just out in the fray. I don't think this billionaire. I want y'all to just think about this.
The Taiwan Academy
All had
is not making his own decisions.
okay, there you go. That's number one. But two, if you all had several $100 million to your name, do you think you'd be set back by some of the exposures that you have right now to the world.
No.
This man has $350 billion to his name. Okay, he knows about things that are accessible that we would never know. Okay, that's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
dude.
That's all I'm saying. And all I'm saying is that
He's bought his way into everything that he has.
he sure has. He sure has. Listen,
He's
I
no
don't deny
genius.
any of this, man. I told you I'm not an Elon mite. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you the truth
Right.
of it. And so that's that. But I want to get off Elon, but I want to figure out why everybody thinks Bernie has an opportunity. Because they've already exposed this dude.
He doesn't have an opportunity. That's not.
He's out making a bunch of
He's
noise
fooling
right
with
now. And that's
AOC.
probably good. But
Yeah.
he ain't
Plus,
gonna
he
win.
played catch with Willie Mays when he was a kid. He's that old.
Yeah.
I've been predicting this,
He's
and
so
I
fucking
said it
old.
once before, and I'll say it again. AOC gonna be the president in 2028, man.
Hell,
man.
Yeah.
Come on,
At
dude.
the
Would you
end
ever
of the
vote
day,
for that?
it's gonna be
She's 35 years
Alexandria
old.
Ocasio-Cortez.
She's 35 years
Rocky
old, man.
Cortez.
Nobody's
That's a good
voting
ticket
for
right
her.
there.
Nobody's going to
And she gonna
Nobody's
win, I'm
voting for her.
telling you.
Wouldn't be
She
bad
ain't
for
winning.
Nobody's going to
By the time 2028 come around, man, ain't nobody gonna give a damn about the
Man,
president.
her approval ratings are historically low. She's gonna need a bulldozer to dig herself out of the hole she's created.
She's
There's
not
no
that smart.
Well, I would think if Trump can get elected, so could she.
All she gotta do is let
She's a
Trump
DEI
rap
hire,
fire.
though.
Let me stop.
Yeah, she's DEI, bro. So yeah, she ain't gonna make it.
She could be Elon next baby mama. No, let me stop.
She probably would love that. She probably love that.
I definitely doubt that.
Yeah,
He would end up going John Bobbitt on his ass.
Well, she does drive a Tesla, so it wouldn't be too far.
I'm trying to say, man, it's already in
Does she
the
still?
making,
I
man.
bet she doesn't anymore.
Oh, no,
No.
I bet she does. She probably
bet
has a
she still
Cybertruck
does.
now. Yeah, she probably has a Cybertruck
These
now.
people aren't gonna get. Hey, there's a couple things these elites aren't gonna give up. Their Gulfstreams, okay, and their luxury vehicles. They need to travel in style, man. Whatever the stylish way of traveling is, they're gonna be about it. Period.
Kenny Copeland
And
needs
you
a new
know,
jet.
the thing about
Don't
Elon
forget
Musk
that golf
is
club membership. They can't get rid of that golf club membership.
the most expensive home in the United States is about $300 million, right? To put that into perspective, Elon Musk could buy one of those every day for with 300 billion, 300 million is like a penny. I mean, what is it, a dollar? It's nothing as a percentage.
like-
If you make $100,000 a year as a percentage of the income, right? The most expensive home in the country is it's what is that 0.01% of his money? The most expensive. He can never spend all the money he has. If he gives half of it away, it don't matter. You can never
You-
spend it.
okay. Imagine a $1 bill, okay? A stack of $1 bills, 100,000 $1 bills, right, is about 3 stories tall.
Yeah.
Okay, a million $1 bills is about 30 stories tall, and a billion is the size of Everest. So we go from a billion, the size of Everest, to a trillion. That's 3/4 of the way to the moon. Okay, our national debt would go to the moon and back over 5 times.
Yeah, I've heard
Elon's
that before.
wealth, right, would go to the moon and back over fucking 40 times.
Can
That's
you
not
imagine the
That's
personality?
not true.
Can you imagine the
You
mentality
got
of
that
somebody that
backwards.
can
Yeah,
actually
he
say
does.
that Elon and Donald Trump just want to
He's
steal
dealing with, like-
more American money? That's what I'm tripping on still. I heard
Wait,
somebody say,
that much money him.
Isn't most of
Like, that
Elon's
much.
wealth
In Solid Snake, you'll be in line to give them their first dollar, right?
no, I'm just saying the simple fact that they actually think that these people are actually out to steal their money is just, oh man.
Wait,
What were you
Well,
saying?
what are they
What were
doing
you
though? I mean,
saying, HB?
isn't most of Elon's money though in Tesla stock? Isn't it in stock? Because he couldn't even
I
buy.
mean, he owns Twitter outright. He owns a boring
he doesn't.
company.
No,
He owns
no.
SpaceX.
his
he
investors
got a-
on
he-
Twitter.
Yeah, he got a loan for Twitter. He didn't buy it
Yeah.
out, right?
Yeah, but they're profitable now. So
No, I know he had to sell Tesla stock because he paid taxes on $11 billion that year.
Ryan, he like leveraged his Tesla stock to buy somebody else bought Twitter for him, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did there's some
and,
kind of buyout. He probably has backers.
I mean, yeah, they got backers that they always going to depend
Rich
on.
Maharajas and the UAE bought Twitter, but
Well, the Tesla stock's about it's in his valuation. So if he's worth 200 billion or whatever, the Tesla stock is in there.
Well,
The Twitter stock is in
eliminating
there, or
SpaceX.
the percentage of equity is in there.
SpaceX is all of his equity is SpaceX. He makes $8 million a day just off of SpaceX.
oh yeah,
That's awesome.
dog,
Yeah,
man.
that is pretty crazy.
Capitalism
That
is
is pretty crazy.
It's fucking
Hey,
incredible, isn't it?
Speaking of that, speaking of
Did you
capitalism,
say 8 million a
people
day?
hated Bernie Sanders and his 50 million
What a life.
summer
That's
summer
100%
homes,
government subsidy.
summer homes he has, and
I made all my money. I made all my money on my book.
And Jim Jordan's worth $20 million, but he's never passed a bill in his life.
Oh, no, Uncle Fatty, that's not a subsidy. He has
Hey,
contracts.
this-
Very
Contract.
different.
Gotcha.
Different
Yeah,
deal.
for real. That's a good correction, yes. But it is government money.
Well, but most of these contracts are bid out. I mean, everyone is talking about he gets money from the government. I mean, I do business with the government. I don't know. It's not subsidies.
I'm a female
Hey,
contract.
but y'all think about that for a minute. What's your
All right,
hot
so- Sorry,
Hot
HB.
dropping bombs in the chat. Hold on, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
You
think
said,
about
what's
it.
he doing?
You could have made $400,000 a day since the time of Jesus, and you still wouldn't have Elon's money. That's fucking crazy, man, when you think about that shit, man.
It's great to see Black Suit Dubai up here. I'm really happy.
Why would we
Me
trust
too,
a guy
dog.
like that?
That's why I came up here. What up, Black? Yeah,
What up?
man, I ain't
What's
gonna
going on, guys?
It's been
Harambe
so
for
long.
president. Harambe for president.
Ooh, it's been a long time, man. Y'all think I
Man.
should run for president? I'm gonna run for president. I'm running as Harambe Snake.
Crack for everybody.
God help
Get
us.
crack for everybody. No, let me stop.
Get crack. Get crack will be your running mate.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, y'all playing. When I get my
Wow.
stimulus money, I'm just gonna binge watch Get Crack videos all day, and I'm just gonna see whatever he say invest in. That's what I'm going in. We gonna crash the fucking market.
Did you
And
just
once
say
that
stimulus money?
motherfucker blow up, I'm buying
Yes,
Popeye's
he
chicken.
did.
I'm buying Popeye's chicken stock. I'm gonna be like that Dave Chappelle skit. Popeye's chicken stock has skyrocketed. I'm rich, bitch. I got a whole truck full of new pokes.
Wait, Solid Snake, you really believe in those stimulus checks? You think they're gonna come? You think
I'm trying to tell you, man. Look here, man. Dave Chappelle, I'm gonna tell you something. It's something about that thing they always say about the Illuminati. They show you what they're gonna do before they do it. And it's sort of kind of ridiculous how synonymous Dave Chappelle skits are to reality today.
Yeah, man.
It really is.
Definitely agree.
Yeah, the Clayton Bixby one. That shit is.
I mean, come on, whoever would have thought we would have seen a black KKK's, motherfucker supporter.
Yeah,
And now you got all these black Trump supporters out here on YouTube, loud and proud, like, yeah, I voted for Trump, bitch.
Look at Kanye. Look at Kanye. The man literally has Nazi symbols on T-shirts. Like,
I'm trying to tell you, man, this shit is ridiculous. It's almost like you want to predict the future. Just go watch old Dave Chappelle skit. That's how
Like straight out of The Simpsons.
That is crazy though, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I do believe we're gonna get them. I don't have no doubt in my mind about it at this point. I don't. I mean, when he
I
goes
haven't
out
even
to
heard
the
of this.
Department of Education, and I know he's going into the Pentagon next, because they just pulled Hillary and Bill Clinton's security detail or whatever. So it's like he literally getting ready to take them on to the gulags, if you get my drift.
Sod Snake, I was going to do a show on the Illuminati, but I got a phone call. A voice said, "You better not do that shit or you'll regret it," and hung up. So I'm not doing one now.
I swear, but then you had somebody call in named Solid Snake, and then he just started talking all kind of dumb shit.
No, when's the last time you called Tom though? Because that's got to be on record. There's got to be a
I
log
haven't
of that.
called Tom show yet. I haven't. I be at work when he be on, man. I be like, God damn it.
It's very hurtful.
Yeah, likely story.
Very hurtful. I wouldn't
No,
call
I've been
in either,
working, man. I've been working, man. He be having, like the other day, he had one with George Carlin. I sure wanted to call in on that show. The George Carlin show, oh man.
I love me some Carlin. I'll tell you what.
Hey, it was this podcaster named Dan Carlin, and I started listening to him, and I said, damn, he tells a story just like George. I wonder did they have the same grandmother? I don't know.
How's the Solid Snake? How's the how you doing, man? How's the
I'm doing good, man. I'm on pins and needles, man, because Trump picking up motherfuckers, man. They don't give a damn. They going back 10 years, man. Shit, from what I heard, word on the street, they going back 10 years.
What do you mean?
If not
That
more.
means if you got say like you're an immigrant and you've been here for 10 years and you've been authorized within those 10 years, they come to get your ass.
Oh yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, somebody that's been here for 10 probably advocating for somebody that's been here for 2. So they're going to just take them all in one loop, one fell swoop and say, hey, you broke the law. And that's how it's going to be, man. I'm telling you, man, I voted for it and I'm here for it. But I don't know how long I'm going to have the internet if this keep up.
You're right. Or food that's affordable, or education.
I don't know how long my adware gonna survive. Because I don't know no nigga that know that code well enough to just say, hey, we know how to work on ad blocker. I'm just saying, bro, we finna lose it.
Those pussy nodules.
That's what I'm talking about. Who gonna keep them updated? I mean, shit. Who
Ain't no
cares?
USD
Hey,
inspectors for the meat
Donald
anymore,
Trump,
so hey.
my biggest fear is if Donald Trump immigration policy goes through as well as planned, in 4 years, everybody's phone gonna be bricked anyway. Shit.
I don't see the correlation, Snake, honestly.
I know everybody think they got different standards, but man, I'm telling you, we got these westernized habits that the Easterners just don't share with us. I know it. I know. I'm telling you, I see a difference. You know how you were when you was a black kid. You know, you come from the hood and then you go to it's like a Chris Rock skit. You know what I'm saying? Or a Dave Chappelle, and you go over your friend's house, the white friend, and his mom got what they call it, stove top stuffing. See, black people didn't do stove top stuffing. You know what I'm saying? But you over that motherfucking house every motherfucking day for that stove top stuffing. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't gonna leave home. See, and that's what I'm telling you. This is what this immigration has done to America. It's almost like we love stove top stuffing. You know what I'm saying?
Like it kept us afloat. You know what I mean?
But Charles, say you're not wrong. Yeah, absolutely. They come over here, and they bring their
stovetop stuffing,
their jihad over here, and
and we enjoy it every bit of it.
And it's death of the infidels. I'll tell you, boy.
It's definitely a jihad because ain't no black businesses standing when they get through.
The Spaniards are committing jihad.
Who?
No. Well, shit.
The Mexicans are bringing.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Mexicans. We're not talking, dude. Keep up. We're talking about all the people who are coming 8,000 miles away, not the people who are just on the other side of the border. Talking about
there's so many days in they, them, and the others that I just.
My neighborhood, the majority of the people moving in are Muslims.
Yeah.
Ain't Mexicans. Mexicans are getting out of Dodge. It's Muslims. Indian Muslims and Pakistanis.
The Muslims gonna stick to the plantation they've been sown to. I'm gonna tell you something. They're gonna stick close to the wine vineyard because they want a shorter drive to work.
They're about to build a new mosque here. Listen.
Yeah, see, The Muslims, they building inside the inner city where we at. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where they wealth being bred. So why leave the money?
There's an
Amendment
article.
give everybody the right to worship whatever God
Again,
they
I
want.
can hear you, Tom.
There was an article in the Washington Post this week. It was called "The Stovetop Stuffingization of America."
That's a good show. That's a damn good show. I'm gonna be there for it. I probably show up in the chat. Hit the cash app. Hit the cash. Oh, everybody. That reminds me. Everybody, hit the like button, man. Everybody enjoying the show, man. Hit the live button. Yeah, we all boomers and cooners over here. We just chit chatting and shit. You know what I'm saying? But hit that like button, man. And if you can't, hit that share button for that Sunday morning drive for that Saturday morning drive for your friends if they got to go to work on a Saturday, man. Let's enjoy their day at work. And shout out to everybody that got to work on Saturday, all the FedEx and UPS drivers and all the truck drivers that got to drive during the weekend. You know? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hell of a guy.
I'm trying to get it better.
The mouth of the
South.
South.
I did want to ask you, Solid Snake, what year specifically do you think that like crack cocaine wasn't as good as it used to be? What year do you? What year did it like?
Crack?
I'm gonna tell you, when the legal immigration started, when they started sending them Venezuelans in the southern part of Texas, and they mixed in with them motherfuckers from down there with what we were talking about, Portia tell you about it now. Over there in Fort Worth, over there in that little area, man, that's where they started cooking that dope at, man. They learned how to cook that dope, man. They set that shit all over there, LA and everywhere else, man. I'm talking about, man, I'm telling you. Down south, Houston, down there, man, they learn how to cook that dope, man. Y'all better cook that dope. Y'all, man, I'm telling you, they learn how to cook that dope. Man, I know an old school motherfucker right now cook that dope. That motherfucker get a goddamn $100 rock motherfucker, he can make shit $5,000 by the next morning.
Off $100?
Off $100 rock, that motherfucker on baking soda. I got baking soda. You know what I'm saying? Like, god damn, what you think about
This big.
that?
Stay high for hours.
Way to return.
No, I don't do dope, man. I don't get out like that, man.
Allegedly.
He
No,
just smokes
I
like
smoke
a sheep.
weed and drink cheap beer. I think they putting that shit in the beer now anyway. I think they liquefied it. You ever seen a motherfucker off that 211?
I don't do baking
Hey,
soda.
have you guys seen those viral videos of how they make Costco foods?
Oh, man.
About how they
Make Costco.
specifically how they make the Costco chicken.
No. I thought it was like when the chicken is
What
about
about
to
KFC chicken?
expire.
There's a reason why they don't get
Well,
it called
no.
chicken, right?
Well,
You're not talking about the pink slime, are you?
no. What I'm saying is there's this video out where there's a guy showing you the recipe for Costco's chicken, and so then he uses his home industrial chemicals that are the equivalent of the industrial chemicals that they use to make the chicken. So the first thing he does is give it a chlorine bath. So he just uses Clorox bleach, and it sits there for a couple minutes, clean, so it can kill all the bacteria. After that, he makes like some sort of industrial salt and sugar mix, and then injects the chicken.
Hey! I don't mean to be. Hey, Black, come on, man. Calm down.
And then
calm
and
down,
then-
calm down, Black.
it covers the
You gonna
chicken
get the video bad, Blacks. You gonna
with
get the video
other
bad.
with other industrial chemicals. I'm just saying, man.
Telling them
it-
all this. You're telling them too much, Black.
It's crazy, man. It's just, I mean, it is
It's
what it
just
is. It's what
chemistry.
we're
It's
eating. I'm
just
just saying,
chemistry.
that's Costco. Imagine what else we're putting in our bodies. That's all.
Yeah, y'all gotta be careful with
It
this
ain't no Wagyu
information we
beef.
putting out here, man.
Well,
Like I think one day we got a video probably struck because we started talking about that other drug, that horse drug, the horse tranquilizer.
I remember.
I was reading about I was watching something about chicken the other day, and the guy was describing the difference between like air chilled chicken versus say your regular chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I think the air chill, your regular chicken, the way they provide it here in America, I think it's banned in Europe, and that they give it a chlorine bath or something.
Yeah, didn't I just say that?
Yeah. And so your You buying the water weight too, the chlorine, the chemical water weight. That's it. Versus they say you should buy air shield if you can.
Yeah, that's why the birth rate's so low. All this chloride going through our bloodstream, getting into our nutsack.
Just grow your own because right now the Texas legislature, you might know about this. The Texas legislature is had a bill on the floor talking about whether or not people can keep chickens within city limits. Did you know about that, Tom?
Yeah, me and Portia talked about that the other day.
And I of course voted in favor. Well, I couldn't vote. I let my voice be heard and said, hey, look, I'm in favor of it. Because why not? You have all these people talking about, oh man, it's going to be a barnyard out here. I'm like, no, they're saying 6 chickens. Have you ever had 6 chickens? They don't.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
It doesn't take, and it doesn't take thousands of dollars.
Eggers. You know, there's 2 different types of chickens for eating and egging.
Yeah,
of course. Can go back and grab that and clip that video where we were talking about it that night. Because she was talking about catching chickens.
Yeah.
Blacks, they got chickens in Chicago.
I know they do. I know. Back when I was in college, one of my female friends at the time had
HB the chicken farmer.
Hey,
HB, man, I need one of them grade A eggs, man.
No. I used to have a neighbor that had chickens in her backyard, man.
Do you know where Columbus Park is on the west side?
Oh yeah.
She had so she stayed right across the street from there, and she had chickens in her right down in her yard at her apartment.
Man, what's so weird about Texas to me, man, is it's supposed to be like super, Republican, but it's
think about Austin. Remember where the state capital is, and remember who's run roughshod over that place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was just there the other day.
Black cities are blue, right?
It blew my mind when I first moved to Texas. They told me my tints were too dark. I'm like, in hot ass fucking Texas, my tints are too dark. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what?
HB though, you're living in a more populated area. It's just like everywhere else. The big cities are blue, but you drive about 50 miles west to where you're at.
But Tom, you know that's going away. Tom, you live out here. You know that's going away.
I'm in
a little.
Work though, Tom. I'm in Tarrant County.
I know. I'm saying that's still civilization, and it's spreading out, and it's spreading out fast from the big city. I mean, it's like it used to be. If you went up to Sherman or Denison, you were cool. Now,
or Denton,
not so much. Or well, Denton's college town, so I was kind of.
Well, no, I mean no. I don't mean Denton proper. I mean Denton County. Yeah. You could be in Krugerville. You could be in Aubrey. You could be in
Prosper, Little Elm,
Pilot Point. You could be in all those places where that's horse country over there. And now the city has encroached upon their land. I mean, all those people who had family plots are selling them off.
Yeah, concrete and steel, man. They make big money selling those off, but. There's still, if you go west, where I'm at, it's still the wild, wild west. You drive 2 hours west, and it's.
Where's that train? I took my children to a Thomas the Train Engine little thing for the holidays, and it was out in Palestine, Texas. Yeah, and that place is still kind of podunk.
Oh God, you go out to Marfa, you go out. I mean, and the thing is, there's 8 hours, 11 hours you can go west.
You're not lying.
So it's still plenty of.
Until you get to El Paso, then it gets liberal again.
Yeah, or Lubbock, but Lubbock's still kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like anywhere else. When I moved here 25 years ago, even Flower Mound was like, I'm not going all the way up there.
Right.
There was nothing from Grapevine Mills Mall all the way 7, 8, 9 miles. Nothing on either side of the road. Now Home Depots, housing developments, it's growing. It's growing fast. And I don't know about you. I can hardly drive on a highway anymore because it's like only about half the license plates are from Texas.
That's
so many people have moved in here since COVID. It exploded. I think Dallas County, Collin County, and Tarrant County were the fastest growing counties. Maybe
in
Austin.
the nation.
Yeah, Harris might have been in there. Yeah, in the nation.
Yep, in the nation.
Everybody coming here.
And Salina is in Collin, and parts of it's in Collin, and they are now the #1 growing city in the nation.
Yeah, it's everybody came here for the jobs and the
See, I predicted that. I predicted that COVID was going to make the red states stronger, the red cities, the red districts. That lockdown situation with COVID was unnecessary.
Well, Snake, the thing is, I don't know if it depends on what you mean by stronger. We're getting more people, but a lot of them are coming from blue states.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of them angry about that COVID situation, and they love the freedom and the the freedom of being in Texas
at first,
or red state, as you will.
Austin might as well be California at this point.
Yeah, Austin's California. But
you got to look at all the gentrification that was going on in those blue states at the time too.
Well, I agree with you.
They was in the middle of a gentrification area back between 2018 to 2020. They were still laundering that money, but that was most of the profits that was coming off of Trump's bills that he had processed, when he had came in office during 2016. So when they came out with the PPP loans, I still want to know why they prosecuting the PPP loans when it was actually necessary. And I don't see a problem with the PPP loans. Yeah, you had some corruption, but most of that was from people that already, in my opinion, if you profit more than $300,000 a month anyway during COVID, you didn't necessarily need the PPP loan. I mean, at that point, because you really just regulating yourself into oblivion when you look at how they operated that situation.
Well, Cori Bush's husband is going to jail because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that though. I don't agree with that.
Oh man,
I don't. If we're not gonna lock up the politicians that's been laundering money for all these years, the PPP loans need to walk free anyway, because that's our money. That's still our money, And yeah, you may say, hey, you didn't use it right, but what are you doing to the politicians that didn't administer it right? You know what I'm saying? You can't hold one accountable. You can't hold a student accountable if you ain't holding the teacher accountable. That's my theory.
San Antonio. San Antonio. I mean, you could consider that. Austin.
No, I'm just saying because.
All right, Solid. All right, we heard you.
Where would you prefer that your tax money does go to?
I prefer the tax money go back to the people's pocket.
Well, yeah,
go to me.
Let's say it does.
No. Listen. We don't sat here since 1990. When was the NAFTA agreement signed? I keep bringing that back up.
94, I believe, or something around that.
I keep bringing the NAFTA agreement up because just like it was a president that went against Bill Clinton was saying it's going to be a large sucking sound, and if we don't prepare for this, if we pass this bill, we need to be able to allow ourselves to procure ourselves. We got third world countries. We trying to build up competition. We're not building up other countries. We're building up new competition to strive the industry forward. So if we're building up these countries, why are we allowing politicians to administer tax policies that don't benefit us as the taxpayer, and we still living like slaves? Actually, I think as an American citizen in 2025, if you're a minimum wage employee making at least $25 an hour, you basically a slave, and anybody making less than that is less than a slave.
Do we have any Kojic music that we can put behind him as he preaches?
Yeah. Did you get vaccinated?
That doesn't work. That's not.
Oh, come on, man. No, but it's true though. You know what I'm saying? They literally trying to tax us into oblivion, and they literally giving our wealth away to other countries while we breaking our backs. I mean, it's worse than slavery if you really think about it, because here you are thinking, hey, let me get married and have the best time of my life, when they literally trying to say, hey,